What's up, everybody? Welcome to Underground Crypto Deep Dive Show. Got a good one for you today. We're going to be talking about privacy coins. Let me flip in and see where everybody's at here. Guess I was a little late to switch us over. That happens. What's up, everybody? Welcome to Underground. All right. So one thing I want to do right off the bat, see Blues Guy is here. Let's talk about the mic level, because somebody definitely was saying that the mic level wasn't very good. It was too loud. It's very interesting. So one thing I want to do right off the bat, it seems so loud. Let's talk about the mic level, because somebody definitely was saying that the mic level wasn't very good. It was too loud. Or it was not loud enough, sorry. What's up, Blues Guy? It seems so loud. Yeah, that's what I thought, Blues Guy. I just had that, and I'm sure he'll be here tonight. Seems like a great guy. Nothing against him. Trade Intuition. He emailed me about the mic level and stuff and sent me some stuff about how to change it. Okay, I don't like the echo there for everybody else. Anyway, showed me how to change it and stuff like that. And he must have like a different setup than mine, or not OBS or whatever, because I don't have those settings. So with that being said, the mic seems super loud. Again, I'll turn it all the way up on my phone. I don't like the echo there for everybody else. Yeah, there's no way. So we'll check it a couple of times when more people roll in here. And yeah, we'll go from there. As far as that goes, Blues Guy, he wanted to talk about privacy coins. I told him Tuesday we'll definitely do that. He said maybe it's on his end. Yeah, it's got to be, because it's dimed out on pretty much everything. Windows, OBS, Focusrite. I got the Focusrite Scarlet Solo. It is called Focusrite, right? Yes, it is called Focusrite. All right. Got to talk about crypto now, right? Not microphones and equipment. You guys didn't come here for that. Still giving a minute for people to roll in. We got the crypto bubbles up. You can see who the winner for the daily is and what is up with this Co-AI. Man, this Co-AI has got some volatility. Is this the coin to trade right now? This seems like the coin to trade. Also seems like the coin to get wrecked on. Yeah, Blues Guy saying different computers, different phones, has different levels depending on speaker. Yeah, that's very true. He was mostly saying that like he would go to like another channel or something and then come back to this one and the mic would seem really low. I don't know how that could be, but you know, it is what it is. Chunky Gorilla 1, what's up, man? How are you doing? Thanks for dropping in and dropping a chat. We are just kicking off here at 8 o'clock, so we've been live for like 3 minutes. Just giving a minute for everybody to roll in. Looking at how much this Co-AI has just bounced today and then also lost it, right? So it bounced from like $5.55 to $11 and then just like immediately back to $6. And then it kind of trended up the rest of the day. Seems like a good coin to trade. Seems like a good coin that you could get wrecked on too at the same time. So there's that. Let's check the hour. Hour definitely more green than the daily. I gotta say, I haven't been in the Bitcoin price action much today, as I was not trading today. But I've definitely been looking at crypto today. Had a couple of days where, I don't know, my sinuses were just real messed up. And before my sinuses even got messed up, my voice was like going out. So I was trying to rest my voice. So basically, long story short, I tried to rest for a couple of days. But, man, I am terrible at trying to rest. I am no good at that at all. So here we are back to the grind, and I think we're good now. Tau up 1.6, XPL, Morpho. I gotta move this box by my foot. I'm gonna be kicking it the whole stream. 1 second. Got the coffee ready, and I'm ready to go today. Yesterday was the first day I felt a little low energy, but I think it's just because I didn't drink my normal coffee before the stream. So Blues guy, you really wanted to talk about privacy coins. Did you have anything particular in mind when it comes to privacy coins? Was there anything specific you wanted to talk about? Because I pulled some stuff for the show, some information and stuff, but didn't know if there was like a specific narrative maybe you wanted to go over. Sorry, I got water all over my desk from my drink. Had to wipe that up. Do I need to tell you everything I'm doing? I don't know. But I'm transparent like that. I like to. So where do we go from here? I never pulled crypto rank up. Just bubbles. It's weird. All right, let's pull up crypto rank. It's probably 10 easier ways I could have did that, but yeah, energy picked up. Yeah, definitely. I don't know. I think it was just the coffee that I didn't drink. Nilo in the house. XCL is dope. Glad to hear that. Let's see. It's a vast ecosystem. Exactly. Was a little bit apprehensive, Blues guy, about making a show about privacy coins. Mostly because, you know, all the privacy coins more or less do the same thing, right? They're privacy coins. So how long can we talk about that? But that's okay. We have plenty of things to talk about on the stream. So I didn't sweat that too much. If we have to kind of move on, I'm messing all of my stuff up. My phone holder here is just absolutely falling over. All right. Dysfunctional. Nilo in the house. Yep. You go for it, bro. Yeah. So anyways, long story short, today is privacy coins. We're going to talk about it. I mean, I think the number one thing about privacy coins, before we even get into it, is just regulation, right? Just the regulators coming after privacy coins. I mean, I think everybody here pretty much knows the whole, what they did to Tornado Cash, the creator of Tornado Cash. They persecuted people who use Tornado Cash. And I really don't know all the details about it because, like, I mean, are there ways around it in other countries? Like, if I get sent some money that came from somebody who put it through Tornado Cash, am I like somehow guilty by association, right? If I'm selling something out there in the market, somebody buys it in Bitcoin, and that Bitcoin was Tornado Cash, are they going to come after me about that? That's where the conversation gets interesting to me. If you're in America like I am, and you just go to tornadocash.com or wherever it is, because I have no idea, and then you use it, like, I don't know, I think you're kind of dumb at this point. Obviously, back then, you know, years ago before this happened, nobody knew that they were going to get in trouble. So I wouldn't fault you for that. So the reason I brought this up is because it's picking up big time. Yeah, all about privacy now, brother. Yeah, and a lot of people get off on the wrong foot, you know. The whole narrative in crypto, it's been around forever, which is only criminals use Bitcoin. You know, they did that for forever, Silk Road, all those things. And, of course, not only criminals use Bitcoins, but criminals definitely did use Bitcoin, right? So you can't argue that, but to say everybody is, you know. And you know what criminals mostly use? Cash. I don't know where the people who started running with the narrative, criminals use Bitcoin or crypto, could be crypto too, right? Doesn't have to be Bitcoin. I'm sure most criminals still prefer cash over a, you know, open source, easily trackable ledger. Anyways, that's what I really have to say as far as an opening argument about privacy coins. All right, we're caught up with the chat. Fear and Greed Index at 34. Kind of want to start showing that before we do our usual kind of top down here. And let's see where everything falls today. So Bitcoin, I just saw a chat come in, distracted me. That was the main reason BTC was created in the first place. Another rabbit hole. Yeah, there's that. And there's all kinds of arguments about that in general, you know. Who's the one guy who always goes around publicly, old guy, and he says, like, if you knew why Bitcoin was created, you'd run so far away, or if you knew the people who created Bitcoin or whatever. But then, like, but then he won't tell us who created it that we need to be so afraid of. That's the type of thing that I don't really love or buy about that particular person. Not that I follow a lot of his content. Maybe you know what I'm talking about. Maybe you don't know what I'm talking about. It's an older gentleman who's, I'm sure, really wealthy. And he always talks about how, you know, if you knew who was behind it, you'd run far away from it. But then why doesn't he just tell us who's behind it? I don't understand that. 113,000 for BTC. Yeah, I'll be quiet now and read the prices like I'm supposed to do. 4,132 for Ethereum, above 4,000, but it just seems like it's getting pushed down. BNB 1,211, kind of same thing for that. XRP $2.51. Solana $202. Dogecoin 20 cents. Cardano 69 cents. Tron 31. Chainlink $19.12. 33 cents for XLM. Hyperliquid $39.51. And SWI at $2.82. How's the market been today, guys? 19 cents. Like I said, I usually am trading and stuff, especially on a Tuesday, but today I didn't. So I haven't been every minute in the minute chart of BTC today. I can kind of pull it up. You guys can't really see it. I guess I did draw a flag on the 15-minute. I don't even know when I did that, but it definitely lost it. Looks like we're rejected by the 200 on the 15 again. All right, well, that tells a story for sure. And as one thing I like to do too is to just come down. Oh, what's up, Cryptomaniac? Love to see you in the chat. Thank you for tuning in. I love to just come here and just roll down the 24-hour because obviously this is in list by market cap. So your top 20, top 100, whatever you want to say. Just roll down and see what the average like percentage of losses. BNB actually taken the bigger loss out of everybody, but it was up though, right? SWI down 5.6%. Just looking at the percentage, no really big losers today. Looks like the biggest loser was like 7%, which, I mean, that's just a casual day in crypto, right? Bitcoin's down 7% for the last 7 days. So I don't know. I guess everybody has different feelings about that depending on how bad they got hurt or not. Just realize I don't have my glasses on. However, will I read and be able to see my computer without my non-prescription glasses that don't help me or hurt me seeing at all? A little late, but I made it. Nah, you're on time, Cryptomaniac. We just got started. The first couple minutes, you know, we're letting people roll in, and also we're just chatting. We started talking about privacy coins because that's what we're going to be talking about today. And I think I said this the other day, you know, a lot of times the show, I would focus it around a, you know, IQ raising narrative category, whatever you want to call it. And now we have so much like kind of dialed in regular things to go over in the beginning of the stream. I don't feel like that narrative takes over the whole show, right? So now it's like the narrative can be a little more casual and we can talk as much or as little about it as we want. Well, we got to talk about it a little bit because we got to raise that crypto IQ, which is the whole point of the channel. I know you guys know that. I never know who's here. Maybe one or two people working that are, you know, regularly here. I digress though. Let's get off of that and let's go look at what's trending. And they did change it up on me, which was really annoying. Exactly. You're not late. You're perfectly on time. And where's Orhan? I haven't seen him in a day or two. I know that he is usually sleeping this time of day, so I get it. I get it. So what do we have trending today? We have Ohm or Mantra, as it is down 20% today. So it's trending, it's down 20% in the last 7 days. 5.3 of that is today, right? Let's be clear. So Ye Finance, is that what I think it is? I gotta click on it. This is not affiliated with who I think it is, right? Or is it? Ye Finance. It is on the Psi. Don't see a lot of Psi contract addresses. All right, we will come back and cover that. I don't want to get down a rabbit hole and then not even cover what's trending, right? It says, Orhan and I were up all night. Okay, then. He'll be here tonight. Okay. Well, you and Orhan seem like you guys are becoming really good friends. I love to see that. I love to see the community kind of bring people together. So what do we got trending? We got Aster getting absolutely mollywopped. And now that we have a few people, tell me, how's the microphone for you guys? Am I too loud? I had somebody email me saying that my mic was too low. So I cranked it up a little bit today. So you guys tell me, is it too loud? Is it not loud enough? See how everybody feels here. Money laundromat. Yeah, I saw that. Orphan. Yo, I was like slap happy that Sunday or whatever when he first came on. And I mean, you got to admit, his name Orhan is pretty close to Orphan if you're just reading it real fast. And thank you, Chunky Gorilla. Thanks for answering my question there. Blues guy, you had kind of already answered me, so I didn't expect you to answer me. XPL is trending. This open campus. Now, we talked about open campus, and we even talked about how this, I mean, its ticker is EDU. It's got open campus. Think of like a college, right? This is about education. And I was talking about how this project had a very similar narrative to Giggles, right? Because Giggles is all about education and stuff. I think it's education for younger people, and open campus is a little bit more like for your grown folks. But it has a BNB contract, and it is a Binance Launchpad in YZI Labs, right? So this thing seems very connected to Binance, right? And we had all kinds of conversations yesterday and in the Discord. By the way, if you're not in the Discord, I need to go update the Discord link. I usually update the Discord link when I set the show up, which is usually around like 11 o'clock while I'm watching Lifer. And I realize there's just like no point in doing that because by the time we do the show at 8 o'clock, that link is already expired. So that's very odd that they do that, but whatever. Sorry, I was doing too many things at once. Let's update that Discord here before somebody tells me it's broken again, and hopefully it stays good for a couple hours. All right, Discord link is updated. If you're not in the Discord, I don't know what you're doing. Come hang out in the Discord with us. Matter of fact, kind of just looking at the Discord real quick, right? So what do we got? I see some people posting some videos. This crypto crash will not end here. Oh, it's what's his name? It's Fart Knocker, right? I'm pretty sure that's his name. I like how he has an Age of Empire profile picture. I love Age of Empire. Anyways, he posted some stuff from Crypto Banter and Tech Lead, so he's not just spamming crypto banter. Anyways, hop in that Discord if you want to check that out. So what was my point? My point was education is, or EDU, Open Campus, EDU obviously stands for education, is very connected to Binance Launchpad, YZI Labs. Giggle is as well. Obviously, Giggles is literally listed on Twitter under CZ's, picture, right in the top of his Twitter. So with that being said, put two and two together. What is this narrative about education? Is it philanthropy? Are they just charitable? Is there something deeper going on? Does it matter? Does it matter what's really going on? Because we don't care. We're most people in crypto is just price go up, right? That's all they really care about. And I actually meant to look at the market cap. 89.1 million, tiny market cap. On the max chart, it looks very beat to the ground. It was at $1.40. What was the market cap when this thing came out? Wow. It's very weird that the market cap shows it coming from like nothing, but when you flip it to price, it started very high. Oh, because it has an infinite max supply. don't love that. You guys know that if you watch me often. I don't love a max supply being infinite, but it happens. INSO. What is INSO? We'll come back to that in just a minute. 4. I mean, 4. I heard somebody say, I think it was Crypto Lifer, said like 4 really came from the fact that they gave CZ like 4 years or something like that. I don't know, because I don't remember him doing no 4 years, but you get what I'm saying. Maybe that was like a first verdict or something. Knockchain, we talked about that yesterday. And I always say that I'm going to go over what's trending before I start clicking and going into each coin. And I just can't help myself sometimes, guys. I just can't. And who else really can feel the fear and the pullback in excitement and momentum in crypto right now? I can feel it. I can see it. And it you know, for somebody who creates content in the crypto field, you know, you got to be ready for it, right? We had one of our best streams where the stream got like, I mean, there was like 275 people that came through during the stream while it was live. And to put that into perspective, you know, normally I get a nice like 100, maybe 120. And so we had a big pop, and then we had all of that stuff happen, and now it's much lower. So it's like another metric that most people, I guess, wouldn't see or keep an eye on. But because I create content in the crypto niche for YouTube, I obviously notice it. Says Mike is great, yes. Dep, bro, think about it. The whole his story was rewritten, and soon kids will learn the real history, not the one we have been fed. I think CZ knows something about it. Yeah, exactly. And made the school agenda according to the new system coming in. It's a chess game. Yeah. So we have El Cheeto 51. Hopefully I said that right. Thanks for dropping something in the comment. I appreciate you letting us know you were here. And if you're interested, Discord link in the description. Definitely join the Discord. I was going to say join the description. That makes no sense. All right, so we're looking at what's trending over on Crypto Rank. And I don't really see anything all that different here. I see INSO, and we're going to talk about that. See KGM, we've been over, of course. Zcash, Monad, we've been over. We're just taking a look at everything before we start deep diving into it. And then you have like Form, and then you have 4. 4 is like a meme coin. So we'll look at some of that and the connection to that. And they give you kind of 2 different lists, right? This 375 AI, has anybody messed with this 375 AI as far as mining it? I don't know why. It's giving me like the next Pi Networks kind of vibes. Very small too, but seemingly well connected for such a small project. Might be better, honestly, to look at it from CoinGecko than here. Website looked really nice. They have like a active product on the App Store. You know, does that make it more legitimate, right? It's not just something you download on your computer, which, you know, obviously is going to have less vetting. I don't know how much vetting the Apple Store actually does. So there's that. Just something to think about. I did put it out in the description. He says, what's up? Blues guy saying something in Spanish. I don't know Spanish, surprisingly, for as many Spanish speaking friends and things that I have. I don't actually know much at all. White Bridge. Okay. All right, so now we'll start over here since there wasn't as much stuff, and we'll start digging into it. So first, let's look at Yi Finance because it's trending pretty hard. Max chart says 271. Let's see what it's up in the last 24 hours, right? So it's up 366% in the last 24 hours. So it has been pumping hard. 82.3 million in market cap, a billion tokens with only 129.1 million in the circulating supply. Hopefully you know your tokenomics, you understand why that's important. And it's on the Psi blockchain. So I'm really glad to see a project on the Psi blockchain pumping, right? We got Yi Finance. and we'll go to their website. But first, let's go check the categories. Obviously, it's a decentralized exchange for lending and borrowing, cross-chain communication. They got the Binance Alpha Spotlight here, which, you know, it makes me think that this thing is probably going to do all right, at least initially. I don't know how long they carry a project for, but I think initially they give it a little boost, right? Infrastructure, because they want people to feel like if it's on Binance Spotlight, you should buy it, right? I feel like that's a given. But I don't think they're going to carry it for a long period of time. They probably just rinse that money in and out. Not financial advice, just a theory of mine, right? Have a certain amount of money you kind of throw into a project, and then it gets a nice pump, and then you pull it out and throw it in the next project, and then you can say all of them had good pumps after, you know, they were in your spotlight. So Zora is strong. Yeah. Zora definitely, well, it didn't come up in our trending, but we'll go to our top gainers, top losers. Don't love Zora as a project, but that doesn't have anything to do with what pumps and what doesn't pump, right? So this is cross-chain liquidity. Really just wanted to see how many followers they have. 48.8 thousand followers. And yeah, Clovis trading is now live. And that's their pinned post from 11 hours ago, and it has 59,000 impressions. So that's looking like some good interaction there. Let's go out of it. Let's go to their website. Multi-chain DeFi, as it should be. Lend, trade, and bridge across any chain. Yeah, he says, same here. Don't like it. Yeah, I actually got on there and made a website, and, you know, for those who know, it's a new platform, so you can't be too mad at them because people are going to come in and use that platform for whatever they wanted. But there were a lot of cam girls, if you know what I'm talking about. There was a lot of, obviously it wasn't explicit material, but it was like them trying to get you to go to their explicit material. And I just thought that was really lame of them. But when you're new, people who have a reason to be there versus just your regular person who's just on social media, it's going to happen, right? Pre-deposit vaults. Deposit once, earn everywhere. Earn real yield and Clovis points while supporting liquidity across chain. So that's interesting. Are we talking about basic? Let's launch the app here. And again, this is on Psy, which I love to see some kind of Psy native projects coming to market because Psy really needs some activity. I don't know of a lot of projects on Psy. Maybe that's a good deep dive. Maybe that's what we'll do tomorrow. I don't know. Who wants to see a deep dive on Psy, not Sui, Psy and its ecosystem? Crypto Keep in the house says good evening, everyone. I don't know what happened there. Welcome. Good night, good morning, wherever you are. It's hard for me to keep track of where everybody is. Looking at Yay Finance. I don't know why I'm messing all the words up. Yay Finance. It is a Psy ecosystem coin. I think it had a BNB address as well. So they have some kind of points program. Season 1 has officially concluded. Kind of felt like the point of it was you connect your wallet and you do some, you know, staking or providing liquidity, and they would give you yields like across different blockchains. That was the vibe I was getting. Maybe I should have read the thing on their website a little bit more before I actually launched the app. Let's do that. Or the learn more, that's what it was. Liquidity abstraction. Unified liquidity, stacked yields, any chain, any asset. That was a lot of information they gave us all at once, right? Does anybody else feel overwhelmed by the amount of information they just gave us? One liquidity layer, zero idle capital. Keep all your liquidity productive in a cross-chain yield opportunities with Clovis Unified Engine. Lend, borrow, anywhere. A single global reserve reallocates liquidity to each spoke in real time, giving you credit and steady yield wherever you operate. So they haven't really like spelled it out the way that I was kind of hoping they would. One pool, one price, all chains. Swap on any connected network. Draw from the same global liquidity and tick curve. Capital stays unified and price stays consistent everywhere. I do love the idea of this. How it actually works, that is probably a little bit more complicated. So zero idle liquidity, every spoke. You got Aave and Morpho. Very interesting. Sparkcoin was supposed to be a part of this type of infrastructure along with Sky token. Or I think it's just called Sky. Very interesting. I could see why this is pumping. I really could. And like I said, I love to see that it's on the Sci ecosystem. That's SEI, if you're not familiar with that blockchain. And they've said they wanted to be kind of the blockchain of trading. So kind of it lines up there. And of course BNB as well. Let's move on to what else we got going on here. So CryptoKeep says Zora may do something crazy this cycle. I don't like what they're doing, but the coin could hit crazy highs. Yeah, exactly. Crypto is a world of speculation. Really, all markets are. But I think other traditional markets, they care a little bit more about delivery of a product. But I think crypto is far less worried about it. So Nilo says, do you know how they can be private, how they work? I mean, yes and no. I do know, but you also have to remember that every blockchain is set up different. So every privacy coin does not work the same way. Nilo, probably Nilo, right? So to say like I understand how they work, I mean, you could hit me with a chain that does something very different, and then obviously I wouldn't know. So we are going to go over that. If you want to hang tight, we will definitely go over that. And we're just going over what's trending. I want to look at this INSO. I don't believe this is a new coin, but I could be wrong. No, it is definitely from October 14th, which is today. So this is a new coin. Of course, when I say that, then it is. So it already dropped from $4.19 to about $2.19, and then has kind of been trending up. 66.6 million in market cap, max supply 127.3 million. Not a very high max supply, and the circulating supply is 20.5. It does catch my interest and make me pay a little bit more attention whenever I see a very low max supply and an even lower circulating supply, right? Like the circulating supply is only like 20 million, and that matters more than the max supply. So multi-coin capital, venture capital, intent. So we have that intent category again. That's very interesting. Polychain Capital and Binance Alpha Spotlight. Definitely just had a thought here, which is, you know, Anoma sound really interesting for what they were trying to build because of the whole intent narrative or idea. But obviously other coins could come out and do it way better and actually deliver something like a working product. Privacy projects, they use a pool to buy and sell stuff. Yeah, exactly, CryptoKeep. Good point. Blockchain shortcuts to build your next app. Blockchain shortcuts. What does that even mean? So INSO is the fastest way to build and launch on-chain. Every on-chain interaction is mapped to a shared engine. No manual blockchain or smart contract integration. No wasted time. Focus on product, community, and growth. For every intent, there is a shortcut. Launch an app today. Should we do it, guys? Should we launch an app today? More drinks. That fresh lemonade slapping. Today's show sponsored by Fresh Lemonade. All right. Says use action, make shortcut, fetch live data, ship it. I always tell myself I'd love to sit down and mess with this stuff, but I don't know where all that time in a day is going to come from, right? So very much like we looked at in Noma, it seems obvious to me that they are trying to have you kind of give them the intent of what you're doing, and they kind of figure out the rest, as you can see by their diagram. And then out comes an app. Very interesting. We know the pain of building on-chain products ourselves, so we built Inso for builders like us. So they were building and developing, and they found, I guess, issues and problems, and they said, well, that's a market in itself, right? Every good product should solve a problem. Today the best builders build with Inso. We don't know that to be true, but they said it, so we'll take their word for it. Uniswap migrator, cross-chain widget. I've never tried to launch an app or anything on blockchain, so I have no idea the pitfalls and things that you run into with that. Very interesting. Maybe I'll try it with Inso as soon as I figure out how to clone myself, so I have more time in the day. So let's see. Nilo says, let's do it. Yeah, and I mean, everybody, you see the project, right? You see how I got to it. Anybody could go get together in the Discord and start hashing out an idea. You know, if we were going to launch an app, this is something we could all collectively kind of think about. If we were going to launch an app, you know, every good product has to solve a problem. So if we launch, say, underground crypto app, what problem would we be solving, right? Why would anybody want to download it? Is it just to be a part of our ecosystem, our community? Or would we really supply value? When it comes to business, I've learned running many businesses that it's all about value, of course. I mean, that should be obvious. So I guess my point isn't that it's about value. It's about providing value first before you really look to collect any money from anybody. That's for sure. Anyways, enough of that. Zora is about to pop. Sorry, not a TA channel. Oh, you're good. I mean, it's not TA to say Zora is about to pop. Since we keep talking about it, I will pull up Zora. Not going to do any TA on it, because if you want TA, you should go check out the Crypto Lifer channel, as most of us here are lifers in that community. So what do we want to look at? I'd say we look at it like the 1 hour, right? I mean, right away, I kind of see like this inverted head and shoulder, cupish with the handle, getting the breakout. I mean, you could say a lot of things there on the 1 hour. It's got 418 million in its market cap. Not a huge market cap for what it is, right? And what is Zora Network? Well, it's a layer 2 built on Ethereum. But of course, it's very much about social media. Remember one time I clicked the website and brought it up, and there was questionable content on there. Didn't flag me or anything on YouTube, but I got to be really careful about that kind of thing. You only get so many strikes, and I don't know when they roll over. So they have this Zora TV. 5 hours ago, pin post 5.5 thousand, 273.6 thousand followers. So they have a good media presence, right? Or social media, I should say. So yeah, Zora, I mean, we could kind of check it out a little more in detail as we go here. Monad. I don't know why I want to say Monday so much, but it doesn't say Monday. It says Monad. And we have seen this thing trending for a few days. And even though this is not a TA channel, and this I don't tell you what to buy because I'm not a financial advisor, and we don't do TA, we put things on your radar, right? We deep dive narratives and themes and making sure you know how things work. For instance, we're talking about privacy coins today. And usually the first hour of the show, for anybody, you know, this hasn't been the same way the whole time, but this is the direction that we're moving. If I can make my sentence clear. The direction that we're moving is the first hour is going to be a lot of what's trending, what new projects are, you know, important for us to keep our eye on, as I think that's what most people kind of want initially from the stream. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe you could drop a comment about that if you don't feel that way. So Monad Protocol delivers full EVM, Ethereum Virtual Machine, compatibility with breakthrough performance, true decentralization, production-grade security, and exceptional throughput. Say goodbye to the blockchain trilemma forever. That's what they said. Are they actually doing that? I have no idea. Do they have a working product? Well, don't think so, because you can join the test net, which is how you get to a working product, but that's not exactly a working product. Speed without sacrifice. Welcome to Monad. And with something that's so new that's still in testnet, we're putting it on your radar, right? Where's the value in this channel? That's something, as somebody who's running this channel, I constantly have to ask myself. And I would say in this moment, the value here is the fact that this thing is new. It's still in testnet, and I'm putting it on your radar, and I'm making sure that you know about it if you come and you watch the stream. The L1 blockchain with limitless potential. I don't know what's going on with my speaking today. Crazy. 100% EVM compatible. Pretty much all the same information they just gave us. 100 millisecond finality. That's when it finishes a transaction. Low hardware requirements. MonadDB allows you to store most of the state on SSD instead of RAM. This significantly reduces RAM requirements and reduces the cost of running a node, creating a clear path for scalable decentralization. I think that's far more important than most people are going to understand when it's just read aloud. But being able to store, more on something other than RAM definitely is a big deal. And I'm no computer nerd, that's for sure. Reinventing the layer 1 blockchain, right? So they're going after all of the issues within layer 1 blockchains and trying to make them better, which is what we want to see out of the progression of technology, blockchain technology, right? Rebuilt from the ground up to be the most efficient chain in the world, all while being 100% EVM compatible. Work and play with what you got. And I'm not really sure how much we really need to cover on that, right? Do you know what Monad is? Do you know what they're trying to do? What problem are they trying to solve? How much did you get out of that? That's crypto IQ in a nutshell, if you ask me. Then, of course, we have 4. And, of course, we go over these coins a lot, right? So it's easy for me to kind of be like, oh, okay, and just skip a coin because we've been over it, 14 times in the last, 16 days. So if there's something in here and I kind of don't highlight it, it's because we've been over it a lot. And if you need me to go over it for you specifically, just say so. If there's a coin you want me to go over, I notice a lot more people in the stream, but I don't get as many requests to go over coins. So if there's something you want me to go over for you specifically, I mean, that's the benefit of coming to a small channel, right? I will take a look at it for you. Really should have put some honey in that lemonade. I don't know what I was thinking. That would have been the move for sure. So we have 4. Again, I hinted at earlier, as far as I know, 4 is like a play at the time that CZ was supposed to get or did get. I have no idea about that. I know he didn't do no 4 years. Didn't he do like 2 months in America or something like that? Anyways, it has $214.4 million in its market cap, $1 billion in both max supply and circulating supply, so it is fully vested. BNB contract address. No website. Says it is a meme. Binance Alpha Spotlight. So that's something we've been talking about a lot. Let's go to their Twitter. See how many followers they have. Launched by a bad actor on the BNB chain. Taken over and ran by a hardworking community. That's weird, right? Like that's really weird. The spirit of Binance Smart Chain. Ignore FUD. Stay SAFU. So weird that it says launched by a bad actor. And then was taken over. What'd they like? Rip it out of his hands? How did they take it over? And you have this community headquarters is BNB chain. 4 is forever. An eternal part of the CZ legacy. A code for the entire BNB community to live by. Oh, it's because he got a 4-month sentence. That's what it was. Now that makes a lot more sense. I don't know. I fail to really understand why we should care about this. I kind of get why this might have been big when he was actually first sentenced and like had to spend time. But like 2 years from now, who's going to care about this? So bad turned into good. I like that. I do like the narrative, but also if you know anything about starting a coin, like you can't just take it away from somebody because you don't like what they're doing. So what? He was a bad actor who then he turned good and then just turned over the reins to it. That's a little hard to believe. I don't fully buy that. Because the thing is, if he was a bad actor and he was running something, why wouldn't somebody just start another coin and take the community and be a good person? Why would they need to have his coin? Anyways, Knock Chain. Of course, Pump.Fun trending today. Doesn't surprise me. There's a lot of action going on Pump.Fun. I don't know if I like any of it, but there's a lot of it going on. Knock Chain at 157.9, call it $158 million in market cap, 4.2 billion max supplies, 1.2 circulating supply, with a website and no contract address. Very interesting. We did look at this the other day. I really gave them props for the amount of time that it must have came, down to build this website, because this website is like immaculate. Like, it's magnificent. Like, look at these scribbles. You know how long? That's abstract art right there. They probably paid somebody millions of dollars to do this. It's crazy. I mean, none of us could have made this background. Okay, this is high art right here. And they want to be digital gold that scales. So, gold, a lot of money. They had to have, it was like Picasso probably drew this background. And that's the whole website, by the way. And then they conveniently left like this big white empty area underneath it. Probably for like, contrast to the scribbles, or it's just blank. You can kind of, come up with your own thoughts for what you would like to see on their website. Yeah, obviously I'm messing around. I think that they could have put a little bit more effort. I don't know. It's just like you make a coin. Obviously, Knock Chain, you would think the people running it, the treasury, whatever you want to call it, could have kept a little bit of money or a little bit of tokens, right? And then, like, I don't know, spent it on their website. 157.9 million in market cap. There's 157.9 million dollars in this project, and that was their website. I don't know why it irks me so much. Probably because I have to go read their websites and determine what the heck a coin is, and that's all they gave me to work with. Maybe that's why it bothers me. I probably shouldn't care, and I don't actually care. I just think it's funny. So, is programmed gold powered by zero knowledge proof of work? Yep, Blues Guy backing us up with the details of what Knock Chain is. And they have 14.3 thousand followers. I think that should tell you everything you need to know. Now, this thing is mine. And again, this thing could pump. People could mine it because it does look mineable. It could do really well. They might have another website about to come out in a couple of days, as this is very early, I believe. August 22nd, 2025. Okay, so not as early as I thought. And I could look like a bit of a jackass for harping on them, but it is what it is. Trying to have some fun here. Is it proof of work, though? I mean, it's got to be if it's mineable, right? Let's click start mining. Go to GitHub. I'm not a miner, so if only Reliable J was here, he could sort this out for us. I don't know what the heck I'm supposed to do with any of this information here. But yeah, this thing could blow, and I could wish that I mined it when it first came out. What? Oh, is that like a ledger or something like that? Knockaz built different. I see it's like in Russian or some kind of European language. Okay, I don't know what that video is trying to tell us there. Moving on. We are live and we are deep diving together as a community. the way that it should be, in my opinion. All right, let's hop back over to Crypto Rank. The Apple Watch, good old Apple Watch, telling me it's time that I stand up, as if I wasn't already standing up. And you can be the validator node as well, Mr. Dolo. Did I miss something? Face value says I'm late, but I'm here. No worries, no worries. We're only 50 minutes in. I'm sure we'll probably be doing at least 2.5 to 3 hours tonight. So good content, bro. Thank you very much, man. I really appreciate that. Mr. Dolo says, and you can be a validator node as well. I assume he must be referring to that Nako. Mr. Dolo, what exactly were you referring to? Just curious. You don't have to tell me by any means. It's a free world. Let's see. 4. So we had 4, right? Here. And then you have this other 4. That's like, is this the bad guy? But the ticker is form. Now, from what I understand, these 4 or 4, whatever, you know, have the same name, but they're different. Originated like on 4chan and stuff like that. It's where I was a little bit confused. Now, are they different projects, and one is about 4chan and the other one's about the 4 months that he spent? I don't know. It gets really confusing from there. On Pulse Chain, you can be a validator. For Pulse Chain or for that Naka, for Knock Chain, ticker Knock? Is that, are you talking about Knock Chain, or are you just talking about Pulse Chain? Let's see. So anyways, this 4, which is form, but I noticed they kind of trend together. So they got to be interconnected somewhere, right? You go to its website and it says, sorry, you've been blocked. So what do we do about that? Use a VPN? I've never turned a VPN on while I was streaming, and I'm afraid it's going to mess up my connection. So, okay, no for Pulse Chain. And the content's up. Thank you very much. And Mr. Dolo, I was just asking because I wasn't sure what you were talking about. So, yeah, I appreciate saying the content's dope. And I don't know a ton about Pulse Chain. You know, honestly, my interaction with Pulse Chain is when, and I wouldn't even call it interaction, my education, my crypto IQ raising moments for Pulse Chain, it's a good way to put it with the brand of the show, is that BitBoy used to have a whole like podcast. I think it was even a separate channel at one time where all they talked about was like stuff to do with Pulse Chain, and they brought on Pulse Chain influencers, and that I learned a lot. You know, doesn't matter what you think about BitBoy. He obviously brought a lot of people from that community in to talk about Pulse Chain, and that's where you were learning about Pulse Chain. Pulse Chain is cool. I guess that I missed the memo about Pulse Chain because I had some hex and I didn't sacrifice it, or whatever they called it. And that was, I think that was a mistake. I didn't have a lot. I probably had like $100 worth or something, but, and who knows what it's worth right now, right? That was, you know, back when that sacrifice happened for Pulse Chain. And I don't live in the whole Pulse Chain hex community world very, very much at all. And so I didn't really know what the heck the whole Pulse Chain sacrifice or hex was. I didn't know it was going to be like the future of hex, basically. So yeah, we'll see how that plays out. Holding hex. Again, it's like $100, so I'm not going to cry about it. But I definitely miss it. Okay, I already tried to go to their website. That didn't work out. You know, if you try it again, sometimes it just works. No, it doesn't. It doesn't just work. I made a killing with hex, says Blues Guy. Yeah, last cycle I found out from hex. Yeah. Yep. It's amazing how many things. I'm honestly so grateful for the fact that I do this now on a daily basis. Channel's not monetized, so we are working hard to get monetized. So if you're here, hit that subscribe button and hang out with us so I can get some watch hours so that I can focus even heavier on actually cranking out content and being on top of stuff. We do a pretty good job. We live stream almost every day. I think I've missed one day in like the last, like a month, maybe 3.5 weeks. I don't know. Who's counting? But anyways, we've been on top of it is my point. And once we get monetized and I can bring in a couple of dollars with just the channel, we will go even harder. 2,881 followers. And this is weird because it's called CC, and then it's at binary X, and then they're the head of 4 memes. It just gets weirder as you go. Obviously, I think I forgot to mention that it's 4, but the ticker is Form, which is weird. And then it's a rebrand of binary X, or ticker BNX, into Form. So I really got to sit down with this and hash it out a little bit and look at it and like, what is the point of this? And do we see longevity? Sometimes you don't even have to rack your brain too much about what the point is or what the longevity of something is, because crypto moves fast and speculation doesn't really care. They care about attention. It's an attention economy. Kalshi. Now, I've been seeing this thing all over the place, right? Don't think it's launched yet. And where have I been seeing it? I guess most specifically, I've been seeing it on ads for Telegram. So much info, bro. We got to get you paid off these platforms. Exactly. And it's coming, Mr. Dolo. Don't get me wrong. I know it's coming. You just have to put the work in and deliver the value first. That's what I was starting to say about any good business. But, you know, me coming on here every night, as I love to do it, and I would be doing the deep dive anyways for myself, but I want to share it with you guys and provide value. And so the money catches up, right? I love Jim Rohn. I don't know if you're a lifer or part of the lifer community, Mr. Dolo. If not, I highly encourage it, as most people here are, and I've been a lifer for years. But anyways, Jim Rohn, who we talk about a lot over there, he often talks about how, you know, you become successful, and being successful is a type of person, not an achievement, right? It's not a trophy that you get once you're successful. You become successful, and then everything else follows that as well. And there's even, you know, there's different things you can look at with the same information, you know, if you're spiritual or even religious or believe in God, right? And in the Bible, it talks about how if you seek first the kingdom of God, everything will follow after. You could definitely equate that to being the same idea, as that, you know, when you become, when you follow, when you do what you're supposed to do, then everything just naturally follows you, right? So anyways, I definitely believe it's coming. Let's go to the website for Kalshi. And I appreciate you saying that, Mr. Dolo. I really, really do. Sold at the very tippy top. Lucky Luke. Did I miss something? He says, I found out from Hex last cycle it's the future of ETH, not Hex. It's the future of ETH, not Hex. Okay. So Pulse is. So you're saying Hex will still do well? Says, I just broke 130 subs yesterday on my channel from non-stop posting from October 1st of this year. Mr. Dolo, what kind of content do you create? Are you in crypto or are you in something else? Obviously, I can't really see it right this second. Yeah, I think we did look at this call sheet. We looked at it. What was the other? Can anybody tell me what the other coin was that we were looking at that was like sports betting? We looked at it several days in a row, and I don't remember what it was called. Don't see it here either. Was it Kalshi? I don't think so, because the website looks totally different. So he broke 130 subs from nonstop posting from October 1st. That's pretty cool. What kind of content is it, Mr. Dolo? Oh, he said yes, sir. So I think he did mean crypto. It's very interesting. What kind of content were you posting? Oh, wait. That's not what I wanted. Anyways, I don't know if anybody can tell me what the project was, but I'm seeing a lot of these pop up. Kalshi obviously is about betting. And so many different places, like especially in America, are very strict about literally what states can do, like what kind of betting and stuff. So I don't know how that works out. If you look at any of like the gambling websites and stuff, they have to jump through a lot of hoops to even offer their product, and they can't even really tell you that they're making money. I mean, if you don't know, a lot of these slots out here in America, the way they operate is, you know, you buy coins, fake coins that have no value, and then they give you some kind of sweepstake coin or whatever that is 1-to-1 for $1, right? And then you can redeem them. It's like all around, like, it's almost trying to make it sound like you're not actually gambling money. They do this whole runaround to actually be able to even offer it in different states. It's very weird. But anyways, I do wonder about the regulation when it comes to these things, if they'll even be able to really offer it everywhere. Obviously, you can hop on VPNs and do what you want most of the time. So yeah, Kalshi on your radar. I do think it might do well. I see him spending a lot of money on advertising in different places. So he says crypto, skateboarding, MMA, personal trainer, boxer. Okay, got you. Well, congrats on the 130,000 subs for sure. Big congrats on that. And I like that you make a lot of different types of content. I grew up skateboard. It's funny, you got a lot of the things that I would be interested in, because crypto, obviously, skateboarding, I've skateboarded most of my entire life, and MMA, I've probably spent 20 plus years in mixed martial arts and Chinese kung fu and stuff like that. So yeah, you probably have an awesome channel. I'll definitely check it out. BJJ Wrestling. It's funny, my best friend goes to a BJJ school for wrestling. So very interesting. Good stuff. Face Value says, learning this stuff is a struggle, like lifting mental weights in a new digital frontier. The struggle means that you're leveling up in this era of digital finance revolution. Exactly, Face Value. A man of multi-content and activities. Exactly. Well, we appreciate you being here. You sound like a very driven and valuable person. Somebody I'd love to have in my community. And I'm more than glad to go check out your channel and sub as well, because it sounds like you make some pretty cool content. And to what Face Value said, it definitely brought a lot of thoughts to me here. As he said, learning this stuff is a struggle, and it can be at first. You know, things compound where, like, you start learning about something and you don't get it. I mean, a good example is when I first started watching the Crypto Lifer, he had all the charts up and he's drawing flags, and I didn't know what he was talking about at all. Never had learned any TA in my life at all. And I just said to myself, I'm going to watch this every day until it starts making sense. And it took some time before, you know, and there's different levels to it. It's like, at first I understand, you know, he's making a measured move and that's where price is supposed to go, but I don't really understand why, and I don't understand how he's coming up with that measured move. And then you slowly kind of get the next, you go from eureka moment to eureka moment, right? Until you really start to get it, and then you start messing around with it yourself. Well, you know, this is kind of the same thing. If you don't really understand crypto, you know, you don't know what a layer 3 is, and you don't know what a layer 0 is, and you know, there's things in crypto that you have kind of gaps in your understanding. Well, then you kind of got to hash them out, and you got to go figure them out, right? And so you rather have the discipline to go do that yourself, which is very hard to do. I mean, it's one thing to look up a couple of terms one time. It's another thing to do it on a constant basis, which is what the value that I'm actually trying to deliver, right? But anyways, the point is you got to build yourself up, you know? One thing, I guess a good way to put it is like philosophy, right? If you've not somebody who's ever spent any time in philosophics or listened to a philosopher, you know, big, sometimes broad and sometimes vague, sometimes very complicated concepts and stuff, right? Depending on what your normal thinking is. And how long can you hold your attention to what they're saying and understand and go slow enough that you understand what they're saying? It's the same idea. You got to build up a resistance to learning hard things, because at first when you learn hard things, you're going to have a good 10 to 15 minutes, and then you're going to feel like your brain hurts, and then you're going to turn it off. But do you come back? It's okay if that happens to you, and that happens to all of us initially. But do you come back to it and say, 16, 17, 20 minutes of it the next time. And then the next time, maybe you can hold attention and understand for maybe like 30 minutes. And then you just compound from there. I don't know why I felt it was really valuable to say that, but basically have confidence in yourself and give it time, and things will compound for you as far as knowledge. So it says, I love to feed the brain with new info. That's why I speak 5 languages. Yeah, that's pretty awesome, Blues Guy. El Cheeto, again, hopefully I say that right, says, well put. Appreciate that. And says, we like you already, Dolo. Yeah, we do. Definitely. Hopefully he's still here. Sapien. So now we're looking at top gainers, top losers. We're already into our first hour. You can see why this stream goes for a while. It's hilarious that when I first started doing live streams, I thought I was going to, just a nice 45 minutes to an hour, right? Don't think that delivers the value that needs to be delivered, and it's kind of way too short. So we have since moved on from that idea. I just think it's funny that I thought I could do like a 45-minute stream. So we've talked about Yi already. We talked about this BNB a station service. Yeah, I think I'm saying that right. Yeah, a station service. I don't know if I'm saying that right. But anyways, we've been over that several times. It just looks like such a weird coin to me, but it's up another 100% today, right? And what's it up overall? Mr. Dolo says you were speaking facts. Thank you, man. I really appreciate it. Face Value says that was epic. I never know if I should curse or not, but for now, we'll try to keep it somewhat family friendly. Not that I mind you messaging or commenting that. It doesn't really matter. And I'm not sure what he meant was epic, but I'm going to assume it was what I was talking about, because that makes me feel good, right? And thank you, everybody. So holding a thought for 30 seconds will bring a snowball effect with similar thoughts. Positive thoughts are a must. We must cast spell on ourselves unconsciously. Well, that's one way to put it, Blues Guy. I don't know if I love that analogy, but I do understand what you're saying. And I guess you could look at it that way. But also, holding a thought. Let's see. There was somewhere I really was about to go with that. And the whole spell casting thing threw me off. But anyways, I just wanted to see what the max was. That was one thing. I don't want to get too distracted from what we're actually doing here. That's pretty wild. People from the Lifer stream came together. Yeah, exactly. El Cheeto, are you from that community as well? And the Lifer, he's an awesome guy, man. He brought us together even on this separate channel. And we always make sure we pay homage to him, right? Because he was the one who started what he was doing, and he, brought us to him. And then now we all get together and do something slightly different. And this channel was meant to complement his channel, right? This is not trying to do what he does. And why do that, right? If you admire somebody and you think that what they do is awesome and you get a lot of value from them, you get a lot of copycats, right? You get a lot of people who run out and try to just do what he did, right? As if they have the time put in and the skills to do it. They don't even think about that. They just try to copycat. And that is the wrong way to go about stuff, right? It's very disrespectful in my opinion. Unless you really got the years of work put in like he does, then maybe you've earned the right to do that. August 19th, 2025. This thing hasn't been out very long, and it's doing some numbers, right? It's up 14,000% from that August 19th, 2025. It's one of those coins you look at and wish that you would have bought. And Blues Guy says, wait, I meant to say words have frequency and that we need to be mindful how we use so we can cast spells without knowing. Okay. I mean, I definitely get what you're saying, man. That's one way to look at it. There's so many different philosophical constructs of what, a spell is, from, the dark stuff to the lighter stuff. I have a lot of things I could say about that, but I'll leave that for like a conversation another time, maybe in the Discord. And by the way, join the Discord if you're not already in there. I'm going to start we started a voice stream, right? And I think we're going to start doing like a scheduled hangout where people can talk. I see it getting out of hand really fast, right? Hopefully everybody stays very cordial during it. But we're going to try to do that. Yes, sir. I tune in every day for like an hour and a half. Oh, for like an hour and a half. I'm just making up what you're writing here. Every day for like a year and a half. Learned a lot from the live streams. Yeah, Lifer's awesome. And about the same, man. I've probably been maybe a little more than close to like 2.5 years that I've been following him. But yeah, it was really awesome. And then he moved very close to me and I got to meet him. And that was pretty awesome as well. So anyways, what the heck is this coin? Every time I look at it, I'm just like, what is it? Even though I literally went over it yesterday. And here's another thing, we were talking about attention and stuff. You have to be willing, and this is my opinion, obviously. I can't force you to do anything, but I'll say it strongly either way. You have to be able to hear information multiple times, right? You ever say something to somebody and then like before you can even really finish it, you know, they say, you already told me that. And it's like, yeah, but like you didn't get it, obviously. Maybe it's somebody you work with. Maybe you explained a procedure or something. And then, you know, that day, that week, during the course of a month, you watch them do it wrong, like every day, multiple times. And then you start telling them like, hey, man, you know, we do it. And they're like, oh, yeah, you already told me that. And it's like, okay, slow down and listen to me tell you it again, because obviously you don't understand. And so people are so quick to reject information if they feel like they've already heard it. I've been over this coin probably 8 times, and I don't remember what it does. I do now that it says decentralized identifier. But it just has such a weird name that it's like my brain doesn't want to hold on to what it is. This attestation, right? BNB attestation service. And it's not that complicated, I guess, really. It's BNB chain narrative verification and reputation layer, enabling composable KYC, aka know your customer identity, and asset proofs for RWAs, DeFi, and AI agents. But every time I see it, I am like, I have no idea what that is. The whole point was be ready to hear information multiple times and try to override your natural instinct to reject information just because you feel like you already heard it. Oh, so what do we got going on here? There's only one way, positive, bring positive. In West Coast time, is everyone East Coast here too? Well, I'll tell you that it is 9:12 p.m. where I am in Florida. Pretty sure it's East Coast, right? So, what is this? Medium? Ticker Meta. Metadium? Like a stadium, but they put the word meta in it. Why did they need to do that? I don't know. We will find out, though. Max chart says October 9th, 2018. And notice that we're already over an hour in the stream. We haven't even got to the privacy coins. And we're still just talking about what is trending and top gainers, top losers. So there is a lot of action and things going on. And I've never seen this project before in my life. And we do this almost every day. And before I was doing the streams, I was doing this almost every day, right? So that's how much kind of time and attention it takes to kind of really nail being on point with what projects are, what's coming out, new narratives as they shift, categories as they shift, right? Just wanted to point that out. So ticker Meta. Don't think it has anything to do with Facebook. I don't know how Facebook feels about them using the ticker Meta. 36.1 million in market cap. It is on the Ethereum blockchain. And again, it seems like they took the word meta and threw it in front of the word stadium, right? Metadium. It's not even fun to say. And again, it's a decentralized identifier. You keep seeing all of this DID stuff, right? And there's so many different rabbit holes we could talk about when it comes to something like a digital ID. I know during a certain thing that happened worldwide, everybody was very worried that they were going to do digital IDs. Is there, honestly, it's funny because this falls almost very similar if you really abstract it out about privacy coins as identity. Digital identity, is it good? Is it bad? Is there a right way to do a privacy coin and a wrong way to do a privacy coin? Is there a right way to do a digital ID? Is it all bad because some bad actors might use it for something bad? It's like a question you have to kind of ask yourself there, right? One thing right off the bat, though, about the logo. Anybody know what that logo does that logo they have remind you of anything? I'm just gonna give it a second. What do you guys think about the logo? Now, obviously, it looks like it's supposed to look like an M for Metadium, but it also looks like some other things as well. Let's see if anybody has anything to say. Face value says beast. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if you're just saying about digital IDs in general, but it's a popular American energy drink that has a logo. That's the first thing I thought of. And if you know what that actually stands for, not trying to go all conspiracy here, but yeah, that's the first thing it reminds me of. Not the type of thing I think I want to see on a digital ID project. I think people were getting tired of banking cartels in control. Yeah, very possible. Yeah, face value says Monster. Exactly. And if you don't know the rabbit hole of Monster and the logo and stuff, you might want to look that up, or we'll talk about it in the Discord, but we're not going to do it here just because I don't want to derail what we're doing. Yeah, the Hebrew signal, exactly, Blues guy, that stands for that. So that's very weird. And then you got like that combined with like Skynet certification, right? What is Skynet? There's just a lot of conspiracy. Did they do this on purpose, right? Did they do all this on purpose? I don't know. Innovative and secure. Metadium safeguards the blockchain ecosystem with a revolutionary decentralized ID solution. Oh, thank God that they did that, right? Metadium, however the heck I'm supposed to say, I don't like their name, does not roll off the tongue. Solutions ensure regulatory compliance while enhancing transparency and trust. Economical, efficient blockchain. Convenient blockchain development, and user protection and regulatory compliance. Now, to be 100% fair, there are some things about a digital ID that could be convenient, but not very many, and I don't know if it quite outweighs the risk. Here's a thought, though. What happens if you kind of combine the digital idea with very hardcore privacy chains and also privacy coin ideas and principles? There you might have a winner there. Face value, okay, yeah, you guys get it. Oh wow, I see. Yeah, exactly. And if it was a meme coin about puppies, maybe we could overlook that. You know what I'm saying, guys? Like, if it was a meme coin about dogs or cats or an animal or something stupid, right? We could overlook the symbol, we could overlook that. But when we're literally talking about digital IDs, I don't think that a lot of people want to overlook that. So I'm glad that the price action has been pretty garbage. Anyways, it's up 26%, right? And so your real big winner of the day is this Yay Finance. Still has, just want to check again. What was it? Yeah, 73.7 million in market cap. Very, very small. And it literally came out today. So for all the traders out there and stuff, where's Orhan? Surprised he's not talking about. This is one I would keep an eye on if I was looking for something good to trade. But my ID, sheesh. Yeah, exactly. So Shuffle is another one I'm not familiar. KGM, we've been over a bunch of time. They're about IDs, but not like you think. Not like that last coin. They're about like digital gamer IDs and stuff like that, right? Totally different, but maybe not. You always got to stay very placid, right? You got to stay very autodidactic. Anybody know what autodidactic means without Googling it? Shuffle. So what is this? Sounds like it has something to do with like gaming or something like Gamblify. That's actually what I meant. Gambling, not gaming. Let's go to the website. See a lot of these, sports betting, gambling, casinos. It's not available in my region. Go to shuffle.us. What's funny is the format and everything here looks exactly like stake.com. And so they shuffle us over to shuffle.us. I don't hate it by any means. Matter of fact, I do love the idea of these gambling casino type websites being very involved with crypto as far as being able to like send in and out. Because this is totally unrelated. Well, I guess not totally unrelated, but one thing that a lot of these gambling websites do is you can't like cash out. Like say I buy $5 worth and I'm up to $30, like I can't cash out because they run this whole racket of, Visa and PayPal, like they charge us money to do a transaction. So you have to have at least over $100, right? Well, if it's crypto and we're using XRP as stake.com does, and we can send a transaction for literally no money at all, then do they have a good excuse? I don't know. But stake.com still requires you to have $65, which is much lower. I rock with that. It's better than anywhere else. But I mean, I should be able to cash out anytime I want, right? If we're talking about crypto and we're talking about freedom. Learning by yourself, self-learn, exactly. If you watch the Lifers channel, you should know what autodidactic means. But yeah, you got to stay placid, you got to stay loose. I tell you, one of the best skills, and if you really understand this concept in its more abstract philosophical nature, man, it'll serve you so well. The ability to listen to what people are saying or what you're reading or a thought or an idea and hold that idea without having to immediately use your prejudice or bias against it, right? Like if you're somebody who likes something political and you hear something that you know is ideologically on the other side, so you immediately discord it, so you won't listen to it. You will never get any value out of it. Obviously, when it comes to political stuff, that's one thing, but that goes for like pretty much everything, right? Like if you're somebody, here's a good one. You're somebody, and this happened to me many times, right? You're somebody who's already been around the world of traditional finance. Say you're 55, 60 years old. You've been around traditional finance a long time, and then I try to tell you that Bitcoin is going to go to 100 grand. And you won't listen because you're involved in traditional finance, and maybe you have a finance degree and you think that you know everything there is to know about making money in finance in the world of the big boys, the big players, right? I've literally had that happen to me. And I was telling him this, before this cycle when Bitcoin was $15,000, right? And this guy has money, he would be up a ridiculous amount of money, even if you put a small amount of his net worth in there. But people, they're not able to listen, right? He didn't even let me kind of draw out the reason for why Bitcoin is going to do well. And that is what it is. And he didn't make a lot of money because of it. And I know he would have been very happy if he did. So, okay, somebody hit us with the Webster definition. Thank you, Face Value. I appreciate that. It's the mark of an educated mind to be able to entertain a thought without accepting it. Aristotle. Exactly, Face Value. You guys are good. I love that. That's being blind and closed-minded, limit, brainwashed by the system. And it's good. As we are a small channel and we're talking about a lot of stuff, who's going to come to a small channel like this and say, I see the value and I see what the vision, or I see what they're doing here, and I think it's valuable. I'm going to hang out and learn with them. I'm going to be a part of this community. It's only people who would know this stuff, right? So keep that in mind for those who stick around with me. Blues Guy, I'm pretty sure Blues Guy is going to be here all the way to the top of this channel, and I really appreciate you for that. But definitely keep that energy and guide the newer people as they come in, especially in the Discord when they're asking questions. Because there's only so much of me and so much time as we grow. It's already hard to be in the Discord. Like, it's so funny, when I first started not very long ago, a couple months ago, I was like, oh yeah, the Discord, I'll be all on top of it because there wasn't a lot of interaction. I literally just made it. And now it's already to the point where it's a little hard for me to keep up with everything that's going on in the Discord. I can only imagine how Lifer feels. That's probably why you don't see Lifer very often in the 99. If you are in his paid Discord, there were a lot of times where I would have a question or something when I first started watching him, and I thought I could go into the 99 and hit @Lifer and ask a question, and he was gonna get back to me. Now I get it. Now I understand why. I think one time he responded to me, and it's because he's busy, and there's literally 1,000 other people who have a question they want him to answer as well. All right, let's see what else we got. I'm sure he remembers your name. Are you referring to the lifer? I'm sure he remembers my name now, but back then I was just a random person in the group. As a matter of fact, I had a different name as well. On most things, I go by the username Godwin's Life. Fifi. $178.4 million in market cap. What is it? It is a meme. I saw that coming. Solana meme at that. Fifi token .xyz. So he says, I have much love for what you're doing, how you're doing it, and why you're doing it. And while you're doing it, doing other things to be able to do it in the end. Love you, bro. Yeah, back at you, Blues guy. What an awesome community when you get, comments like that. It's pretty awesome. So, Fifi, meet our good guy, Fifi. And finally, not a dog or a cat, but a scorpion. Fifi is a scorpion character with a human-like face who is often associated with shitposting on on 4chan. I was like, I am not on 4chan. I don't know about you guys. I don't spend a lot of time on there. Says, no, I meant the blind rich guy. I'm sure he remembers your name now. Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's actually a buddy of mine's father. So, older and, I don't spend a ton of time around him. He was just down because my buddy was getting married. They live somewhere else. And so, yeah. And, it is what it is. Like, if he would have listened to me, he probably would have made a lot of money. Well, I know he would have made a lot of money, but he didn't, and that's cool. Because, I don't know, maybe he'll listen to something else I say later on. Maybe it gives some credibility. He probably isn't thinking about it at all. Although he is into a lot of financial stuff, so I also don't doubt that it's crossed his mind that I told him that. But it's not a like I told you so moment. It's more like, don't miss the next one kind of thing. But most importantly, the takeaway should be to listen, right? Listen to what's being said around you. You don't have to agree with it. You don't have to adopt it as your own belief. I think that's another good way to say it is listen to what people have to say without adopting it as a personal belief. It's something that a lot of people can't do. Garden Warrior in the house. I haven't seen Garden Warrior in a while. Yeah, he says, Ayo, a scorpion, exactly. He said, bro, that's huge. Fifi is not a cat or a dog. Yeah, exactly. I'm all in. Well, be careful, Blues guy. Be careful. This market hasn't really completely turned around for us, has I? And Garden Warrior says, hey, team. What's up, man? I appreciate you being here. I was just talking about you yesterday on the stream. So, all good things, of course. I was like, hey, where's Garden Warrior? And I was talking about that Friday stream where we were talking about maybe pitching in a little bit of dough and spinning some slots. By the way, if anybody would like to do that, some people here probably have no idea what I'm talking about. If you're in the Discord and you would like to throw together into a pot, it could be $5. It could be whatever, right? And spin some slots and hang out together. I'm going to figure out how exactly I'm going to set it up because it would be cool if we could all kind of be on a call together or something like that. And, bro, lost it all in that dump. All isn't much. Yeah, I feel you. Well, we're going to gamble our way back to the top, Blues guy. No, I'm just kidding. But, yeah, even if you're not putting in, you can still come hang out with us for sure. Can you deep dive synthetics? SNX is what Fartknocker is asking for, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, let's do it. I'm in. All right, brother. We will do it. We'll set it up. I'm trying to think of how I set it up because, like, last time we were doing it, it went on for a couple of hours. It would have been really cool if we could actually hang out and, like, conversate while we were doing it. So what I was thinking was maybe, because the watch hours would be great, right? So maybe we'll throw it up on the channel as a live stream, and then we'll have a voice chat going on in the Discord, right? Also bring people over to the Discord. Yeah, that was a great idea. Yeah, I just think it'd be a lot of fun as like a Friday night hangout, right? Because a lot of times, everybody's having a great time on a Friday night. And I think we should have a great time on the Friday night too as a community. You know how like if you're in a company or something, they do like, it's usually pretty corny, but they do like, you know, little outings for people to get to know each other better. There's a better name for it that I'm not thinking of. It's kind of like that, but like actually genuine. Man, we're getting all kinds of great names hopping in here. We got Garden Warrior. We got Bitcoin 3000. What's up, Bitcoin 3000? I certainly remember your name there. Indeed, we're going to get back up quickly. Exactly. And you never know what could happen, man. It might be a great night. We might hit something crazy. Glad it was good. I've always been away from the office working and missed the last few days. Well, we're glad that you're here, for sure. And hopefully you had a good time with whatever you were doing away from the office. Hopefully that means you were taking the family out or going to see some sights or something. Maybe you were on a business trip. I don't know. BTV 3000 in the house. I know he meant BTC, but I got to give him a hard time. 714.6 million in its market cap. SNX is not a small token. And it's an Ethereum contract and just tons of other contracts, right? And what is it? Well, it's got yield farming, derivatives. It's a synthetic layer. The original idea, from my understanding, because I remember when SNX was hot stuff and it had first come out, we all thought it was going to be huge. And this was way back before, at least in America, they were friendly with anybody doing anything crypto, right? And so it was supposed to be like a whole making synthetic versions of, I guess, a lot of the stuff on the stock market, maybe gold and silver as well. Basically digitizing, right? I guess you could even call it like RWA, right? Do they have that ticker? No, they don't really have that, but I guess wouldn't it be RWAs to make a digital version of like an asset or something? Would be a real world asset that's been digital. I don't know how they don't have that. But anyways, since then, it hasn't been the best performer, right? Things are speculative. It's one thing people really have to realize. Like, you can have some of the best tech in the game, and then they can do a horrible job at marketing themselves and just get crushed. You could have the best tech in the game and get some bad publicity because something happened, right? The CEO of the company who built the whole thing did something outrageous, right? And got caught. And then everything takes a tumble. So tech does not directly mean price go up by any means. It could be a part of why people speculate, but unfortunately, people mostly speculate on things, and this is an IQ raiser right here. Most people speculate on stuff because they feel like other people are going to speculate. So it becomes an attention economy where people mostly just speculate where attention is, right? Let's see what we're missing in the chat here. Oh, Trade Intuition in the house. Trade Intuition, how's the mic today? Give me a 1 out of 10. Definitely been keen to hang out. Sounds like a good idea. Yeah, I think it'd be cool. And you're not going to get that from a lot of communities, right? So I think that's pretty valuable. And definitely all brings us a little bit closer. Oh, man, you caught me again. My clubs, it's all good, dude. I do the same thing all the time. Unfortunately, was for work. I thought it might be, but got to get that dry powder somewhere. Yeah, I feel you on that one. And, you know, it's random. I am really, like, dedicated. It's random for me to say this, but that made me think of it, Garden Warrior, is, you know, I could be doing what I normally would have been doing for years. And I make good money. And I would probably have a lot more money to be buying in this market and probably make a lot more money in this market. But I wouldn't be doing what I love, and I wouldn't be building a community. I wouldn't be getting to talk to you guys on a nightly basis. And I probably, well, I know that I wouldn't love what I was doing on a daily basis, that's for sure. So sometimes in life, you really gotta sacrifice, like you're doing for the dry powder or for your vision or your dream. Can be very much the same thing. Anyways, SNX been around a long time, since 2018. I feel like it's very under-delivered. Still has a huge market cap, right? It's still number 140 by market cap. But I feel like the problem with it is that the idea wasn't that great, although it sounds on paper like it should be a great idea. And a lot of people have already done it, right? Like, a lot of people on different exchanges and stuff like that already offer digital versions of stuff. And so like we really don't need SNX. We don't need synthetics. And I think honestly, one of the big takeaways from synthetics is they were ahead of their time. Like they tried to do something when the regulatory landscape for what they were doing was not where it needed to be. So let's see. Trade Intuition says, supporting 4 streamers right now. When your stream ends, I will check a random video, then your live stream, give it a rating. I have volume turned up because another trader is low. Okay, well, thanks, Trade Intuition. This is the only stream that I've turned the mic up on, so you're definitely going to want to look at this stream for sure. And thank you for stopping by. I don't know if that means you're going to somebody else's stream, but that's fine. So perps on mainnet. Early bird gets the worm, exactly. So they have perpetuals on mainnet. And it's funny because we've seen this narrative blow up, right? Like this whole perpetual DEX, all of that different stuff. But let's go back to the chart, right? It got a little pump. Let's go look at like the last 3 months. That's probably best, right? Not a lot. Got a little bit of a pump here from 96 cents up to $2.25, which is a decent pump, right? It's up 224% on basically the month. And most of that was like in the last 7 days, right? Up 91% from there. So it's up 91%. So it's not gotten nothing out of it, but not a whole lot. And how's everybody feeling in Pumptober, right? The memes have been great. Pumptober turned to Rectober, turned to Notober. I know somebody's out there catching them. I mean, Orhan's probably responsible for at least 50% of the memes out there on the internet, as he is a bot. Exactly, bro. 100% agree. You're putting awesome content. You'll get that money back one way or another. Exactly, Garden Warrior. I definitely believe that. Says, nope. Once I show up, I stay till the end, trying to help with watch time hours with volume on, so it counts. Okay, thank you. And yeah, I do believe that if you have your volume off, it doesn't count as watch time hours. I don't know who's listening to me or reading subtitles and not listening, which you could be doing. What if you're deaf and you just know to turn off the sound so that you could read the subtitles? I don't know. We don't need to go deep into that, do we? Anyways, I don't know what else you want me to look at with SNX. We talked a lot about it. Hopefully you're satisfied with that. I'm always glad to look at something for anybody who is here. Just throwing it out there. And I think at this point, and thanks, Trade Intuition, I appreciate you. At this point, I think we could talk about some privacy coins, right? So what are privacy coins? This might seem a little bit basic, but can we really do a deep dive and not talk about what they are? So privacy coins are cryptocurrencies built to hide data on the blockchain, right? And data would be like your transactions and stuff, but it could be other stuff as well. Unlike Bitcoin or Ethereum, where every transaction is permanently public, privacy coins conceal one or more pieces of information, like who sent the transaction, who received it, how much money was moved, or even the full transaction history. These coins do that using advanced cryptography, not centralized mixing. So the privacy is embedded directly in the protocol. Does everybody understand that? Is everybody following along? Everybody understood that? I hope so. How do privacy coins work? A simple breakdown. So hopefully they're going to give it to us kind of even more simple, because what they told us first is probably what most people know, right? So we need to go a little deeper than that to be a deep dive. So they use different privacy techniques. Again, all the different privacy coins, and we're going to bring up a list of them. So we're going to look at a ton of them. They all do it differently, right? Just like every blockchain, every layer one, they don't have to, there's nobody regulating and saying, because you're a privacy coin, you have to do it this way. I mean, that's what makes it so innovative when a new one comes out, is they've probably taken some kind of new technology, kind of like when a new layer one project comes out, right? They're trying to make it better. So ring signatures. Mix your transactions with others so no one knows which one is real or knows which one is you. I would assume all of them are real, right? Very weird. Stealth address, generate a one-time hidden wallet address for each transaction. Almost kind of like, that reminds me of like some VPN type stuff, right? Confidential transaction, hide the amounts being sent. Zero knowledge proofs. Now, zero knowledge proofs in their nature are very privacy, right? Because it's literally called zero knowledge proof because they are proofing or verifying transactions in a manner where they require zero proof about the transaction. What that exactly means, how do you verify the validity of something not knowing anything about it? I don't know, some fancy dancy mathematical stuff, right? Verify a transaction is valid without revealing any details. This is used in Zcash. Is this why Zcash did so much pumping, right? Because people were moving money around and they didn't want people to know. Here's a thought that I just came up with. Does the huge dump that we had in the amount of people who lost money and made money have anything to do with Zcash pumping prior? Where people moving money around they didn't want people to know about? After the crash, did certain people make a lot of money and they wanted to move it around without anybody being able to trace it back to them? I have no idea, but it's worth a thought, right? It's nothing we could really verify or confirm. So Garden Warrior says, I'm a pirate chain holder. Been loading up a little bit recently. It's been looking good TA wise. It's funny, I actually had a customer one time who I did, a lot of work for. I had a handyman company, so I did quite a bit of work for him. And he was really big into Pirate Coin. He had made quite a bit of money on Pirate Coin. So we had a good conversation about Pirate Coin. So this is amazing. So much info, knowledge is power, brother. Underground man, keep it up. Absolutely. He's a pirate, exactly. This is the type of token for the cartel. Maybe they saw the crypto whale who made the multi-million-dollar short is related to Trump in some way. Maybe, Fart Knocker, that could be true. I don't want to downplay that, but it's also a very convenient narrative, and they do try to blame everything on him, so I take it with a grain of salt, right? Just like when you have a boogeyman and everybody always points finger at the boogeyman, you never know if what they're saying is true or if it just makes sense to point your finger at them, right? So, Underground, I think you're onto something with Zcash. Yeah. It literally just popped in my head as I was talking about it, but I really do feel like Zcash is a privacy coin, right? And it uses zero knowledge proofs, which, as far as we know, are the most advanced iteration of validating without really knowing anything. Then you have this Mimblewimble protocol, which I think is a horrible name for anything, but I digress. That doesn't really matter. Compresses blockchain data and hides transaction info. And then, of course, we come into what are the top privacy coins, right? Monero, Zcash, this Firo. I've heard of that before, but it's been quite some time. So let's kind of break it down. So Monero is the most dominant privacy coin. Privacy is on by default. Strong community, strong devs. Uses ZK proofs, Zcash. Privacy is optional. You can send public or private. Another thing with Zcash that's really interesting is they had recently changed, right? So we looked at it. Let's pull this up because I thought this was really interesting when we pulled it up. If you were here for that deep dive, then you remember that. 1 second. Let me blow my nose real quick. All right. As I've said before, my sinuses, it's like the only thing wrong with me is my sinuses are still bothering. My voice is fine. That's what started everything. I was like losing my voice. Anyways, enough of that. Oh, I was just going to read that and then somebody deleted it. Something about Monero. So I like Monero too. I don't hold a heap. And then El Cheeto says XMR, the triple OG. All right. But one thing I wanted to say was, look, Zcash, right? What's the contract address for Zcash? Well, it's near protocol, which is very interesting, right? So if it's near protocol, then that means it's always been on Near Protocol, right? No. So when you go to Zcash max chart, Zcash has been around since October 28th, 2016. But when you pull up Near, and maybe there's another protocol that they're not showing us. I don't really know. I just found this really interesting one day, right? And so you go to max chart and you come over here. Near's only been around since 2020. That's quite a few year gap from 2016. So why did they switch? And Near is built on Ethereum, right? So does Near even, is it a layer 2? I think it's a layer 2, right? It's an L1. This is where it gets a little weird, and we are using CoinGecko for a lot of this information, so maybe we're missing something here. And Near Protocol is a huge project, but notice that Near Protocol doesn't have a Near contract address here. It just has an Ethereum contract address. But if it's a layer 1, wouldn't it have like a Near contract? And it does. It has Explorer, right? Near blocks. Yeah, Garden Warrior says, I learned something new today. Hey, we raised your crypto IQ. We're on point. Didn't realize it was running on Near Protocol. Exactly, neither did I. So you pull up the Block Explorer. If a project is a true L1, right, it's got to have a Block Explorer where you can see transactions. So obviously there are Near contract wallets or contract addresses, which would be wallets, right? And if that's the case, well, then how come, and this is just random, right? How come there is no contract here for Near itself? It's on Ethereum. Why would it have an Ethereum contract address, right? And to kind of even more kind of point to what I'm saying, and sometimes there's just information, right, that they just didn't put on there for whatever reason. It wasn't aggregated together. So we'll come over to SWI. Just a random L1. Notice the contract address, the first one especially, and I don't really care if it's the first one there, is a SWI contract address. So the token, the SWI token itself has a contract address for SWI, right? And that's it. That's just there. It's just SWI, right? SWI is built on SWI. But Near is built on Ethereum. But it also is a layer 1. How are you a layer 1 if you're built on something else? That would, by definition, make you a layer 2. And then Zcash, what were they originally built on? I don't know. And when did they switch over to Near Protocol? And like, here's their contract address, right? Looks very different. And the Near Protocol contract address looks very different. You know, it's just like words with dots in between. It's not a bunch of words and letters, right? So this is all very interesting. I don't exactly know what to make of it or what I think about it. But why did they switch to Near Protocol? And I'm sure they have a good technological reason. I'm not really trying to drum up like some big conspiracy. It's just something that I noticed. All right, I think we're caught up on the chat here. So anyways, most projects, especially layer 1s, the contract address is on the blockchain that they are, right? Because they're a layer 1. So why are they built on Ethereum? That should make them a layer 2. Anyways, let's hop back over to where we were. So I just thought I'd point that out when it started talking about Zcash, and who knows what correlation they have with everything that had just happened. But they started pumping. Is this something that we should look for, right? Should we look for privacy coins to catch a lot of action and move a bunch before, you know? It's a piece of information in a data set, like Lifer always says. You put it in the back of your mind, and then if we have another big dump and you see, you know, Monero moves really big the week before, or Zcash again, or any privacy coin, maybe we start setting ourselves up to where when we see something like a privacy coin move big, maybe we know. And you'd have to see it play out, right? Blues Guy says 0 coin, right? That's funny. Okay, Firo uses a word I've never had to say or ever said. Lin Lelantis protocol to break transaction history links. Okay. So they literally have, sorry, eyelash driving me nuts. They literally have a protocol to break transaction history links. Now that almost seems like the best tech just on paper, right? That seems like a better way to do it. More of payment coins. Oh, right. Sorry. This is Dash. It's funny. I had a buddy who owned a ton of Dash. It went up like the tiniest bit. He sold it, and then it absolutely ripped. And it was many years ago, right? And he'll never forget about it. That's for sure. More of a payment coin with optional mixing called Private Send. So we're talking about mixing here, like a mixer or Tornado Cash or whatever. And then, of course, you have Pirate Chain, or R. I love their ticker. Their ticker is so spot on. Wait, Zero Coin was Zcash in 2013. Okay, Fart Knocker, I'm sorry. SWI is just SWI, right? It's not a privacy coin. So, yes, SWI is not a privacy coin. I brought up SWI because the contract address given is a SWI contract address, where Near's contract address is an Ethereum, so that wouldn't make it an L1. And then Zcash is built on top of that, right? So I don't know how exactly that works out. How private is ETH though? You'd think a true privacy token would be built on its own chain. Exactly. Garden Warrior starting to kind of get what I'm putting down here. We didn't go that far into it, but yeah, exactly. If it's a privacy coin, Zcash, what we're talking about for anybody who's hopping in here, how come they're not built on their own blockchain? Privacy tokens would have its own chain, like Monero or Pirate Coin. I'm not a cryptographer, so I'm not sure. Yeah, I don't exactly know exactly either. Didn't McAfee like Dash, or was it Monero? That I don't remember, but I do remember him kind of backing the idea of a privacy coin, because McAfee was very much into crypto and cryptograph, right? Cryptography. And then you have this secret network, and we've been down rabbit holes with secret network as well, right? Because, and I'll hash it out again, right? We'll do this again. I still don't know what the answer is. These are things that if I had 2 or 3 of me, I would have already figured out. So Celestia, right? You go to Celestia and you go down and you see that it has a secret contract address. Has a Cosmos and an Osmosis contract address, but not a Celestia contract address. And then again, it claims to be a layer 1. And we've been over this thing many times for modular blockchain. I made a decent amount of money off of it back when it went from like $3 to like, $20 or whatever. And of course I didn't sell the top of it, but I did sell it at one point. McAfee like XMR. Okay, so Monero. Anyways, this is another layer 1 whose main contract address is on secret. Now, is it possible that somehow secret is just a partner with these coins and they just somehow wrap up the entire chain in some kind of code that's added, right, to make it privacy? Because they do have an Explorer. They do have Selenium, which means they do have their own blockchain, right? Again, I'm not a developer, so I don't know. We're just trying to hash this out and follow it. But this is an example, again, of another layer 1 that doesn't have a contract address that's on their chain. At least doesn't seem to be on their chain. And that should make them a layer 2, right? So why privacy coins matter? So let's talk about why privacy coins exist and why people fight them. Yes, I know I'm reading from ChatGPT, right? I'm not trying to sit up here like I'm the smartest guy in the world. Nobody can know everything. Research is good on ChatGPT. I have no problem with people knowing that I'm reading this off of ChatGPT. I don't know who that's for, but somebody out there was asking themselves. So financial privacy should be normal, right? Your bank transactions aren't public. Crypto shouldn't expose everything either. And this is good because I haven't pre-read this actually, by the way, just so you know. We do this deep diving together. But this is a good point. And I think this is probably one of the best points that you could say to anybody who starts getting all high on their horse about criminals and privacy coins. And somebody even mentioned about Zcash coming to like cartels or something like that, right? Well, first of all, pretty sure anybody doing anything they're not supposed to do doesn't want it to be on a blockchain, and they probably don't want to rely on a privacy coin either, because that's a new tech and who knows what governments are actually able to figure out. So they probably want cash or gold or something of that value, right? They probably don't want large amounts of money in Bitcoin where everybody can see the large amounts of money, right? But again, your bank transactions are not public. So people move money around, your big wealthy people, they move money all over the globe via banks. And it's not like a right that you have to know the transactions or their private ledger. So the idea of moving things around privately is old. It's as old as money, right? So Synth is pumping right now again, says Fart Knocker. Okay. AI is full of knowledge, right, Blues Guy? Well, yeah, it's super Google in my opinion. I don't think it's sentient. Trade Intuition says 100%. Anyways, protect regular people from targeting. So if all your wallet's activity is public, hackers and scammers can literally profile your net worth. That's true. If your net worth is high, you're gonna, people are gonna start targeting you probably regardless, right? Because you drive the fancy car maybe, and you live in the expensive neighborhood, and that kind of thing. So prevents coin tainting. In Bitcoin, some coins get blacklisted by exchanges if they were linked to crime. Privacy coins are fungible. Every coin is equal. I don't know. So they're saying they can wash coins. Okay. And think about this. If they confiscate a bunch of gold coins in a raid, or if they confiscate a bunch of, US dollars in a raid, like I'm sure they put that money back into circulation after it's no longer evidence. So why should a coin get blacklisted and never be allowed to be circulated again for something that has a very limited supply? Once it's taken out of the hands of the people who are considered criminals, it's one thing, I think, to mark the coin while they're still trying to solve the mystery, track down the person, recover the money, all that. But once they've already done that, it should go back into circulation, right? Protect journalists, activists, and people in oppressive countries. Privacy coins allow donations without retaliation. I mean, Blues Guy probably feels this for all that they did with the whole Canada and the truckers and stuff. If they would have been given in a privacy coin, at least they probably wouldn't have been targeted. So I heard from knowledgeable people that Zcash or Monero could be into metal, etc. Probably why they pumped. That could be. And maybe they are. I mean, that would make some sense. So that reminds, this is Garden Warrior. That reminds me of Dollar Vigilante. Jeff Berwick was mentioning he thought Zcash was a psyop to get people to use a privacy coin. Makes sense to me as it's available amongst almost any exchange. Okay. To get investors away from Monero or Pirate Coin, etc. Could have been. But then why would they want to use it? And El Cheeto says, cough, cough, wink, wink to Blues Guy. They're having secret conversations in there. Put you on spot now. Yeah, Garden Warrior, that's interesting for sure. But I mean, I understand what Zcash would have to gain by, getting people to use them and not their competitors. But the average everyday person, why would they really care, right? Why would they really care which privacy coin they use unless they believed one was much better than the other ones, right? But if they're all relatively the same, if they're all basically private and untrackable, then, why would you really care which one you used, right? At that point, it's kind of like who has the better marketing. And how did Zcash all of a sudden get all of these people on board with Zcash? Pushes in innovation, zero knowledge cryptography. Being pioneered here is shaping the future of Web3 privacy. Expand my brain. Exactly. Crypto IQ. That's kind of the branding that I've chosen around this channel. I like the Crypto IQ thing. I think I'm even going to put together like a little, you know how they have those little like quizzes on the internet? I'm going to do a Crypto IQ quiz, right? And it's just going to have some like probably not easy and not hard, intermediate kind of questions about crypto. It'd be like 10 questions. And then it'll kick you out like what your Crypto IQ is at the end. And maybe we could drive some people to the channel that way. That'd be pretty hilarious. See, we're caught up on the chat. Okay, now let's get into the real concerns about why these coins are so controversial. So regulation and exchange delisting. I mean, there you go. Governments hate autonomous transactions. There's really no argument there. They really do. Privacy coins have been delisted from some exchanges in the US, Europe, Japan, South Korea, probably everywhere else. They're legal in most countries, but heavily watched. And that's one thing to think about, right? So you have money on an exchange, you have money wherever, right? You buy some Zcash, you buy some Monero, like they can see that you bought it. So you kind of get stuck in like a regulatory pickle there because say I have $100,000, right? And I buy some Zcash or I buy some Monero, right? Well, I have to buy that somewhere. Like, how do you get money into a privacy coin without them seeing that you got money into a privacy coin? I don't think you really can, right? Because there's got to be at least the beginning of some traffic. Now, once I have that 100 grand in a privacy coin, and I don't use privacy coins, just so everybody knows. Like, I'm not giving you the blueprint of how to do anything illicit because I've never really used privacy coins because I don't really have a reason to. Although I do believe in the right to privacy, of course. I just haven't had any reason to use a privacy coin. Anyways, my point is, once I move that 100 grand into it, yes, I could do all kinds of different stuff. Say I go to a Monero decentralized exchange and I trade and I turn that $100,000 into $10 million, right? Well, now I have to get that money out unless I just let it live there forever. But if I just made a whole bunch of money, right? I want to spend it. There's so many traps here, right? So even if I could spend my $10 million, even if I could spend it in privacy coin, how do I explain, the new Bugatti or Lamborghini in my driveway to the IRS or whatever government regulate, like there becomes issues. Like I buy a mansion because I have $10 million and I find somebody who's willing to take Monero, right? And he's willing to take $2.5 million for his mansion in Monero. And I pay him for it, and he signs it over and writes it and everything. Well, you can't explain to the IRS how you bought that, and that's very centered around America. I don't know what other countries do, but whether they have a version of the IRS or not, there's still the fact that they're going to notice that you bought something very expensive, and say you work at a regular place where you don't make that kind of money. They're going to start asking questions. And so this is where like a lot of people trying to dodge and do things privately in the beginning days of crypto, maybe there were ways to do it. But today, I just don't see it. And then I think you would waste a lot of time doing what's the number one reason people want to do this? It's tax evasion, right? And so if you make $10 million, especially if you make it in less than a year in America, or even $1 million, like you probably don't want to pay the taxes on that money, but you kind of have to because you're going to wind up and this is just my opinion, this is not financial advice one way or the other, but I think that you wind up in more watching over your shoulder and more potential trouble than if you just paid them. If you could turn $100,000 into more money, then pay them their $2 million or whatever the 20% is, keep 8. And if you could turn 100 grand into a bunch of money, then go turn $1 million into even more money and pay your taxes. Not a fan of taxes. Don't get me wrong, but and that's not financial advice. These are just my opinions and my thoughts for myself. So unless you buy it peer-to-peer, I guess, right, there you go. That's why it's hard to hold R. A few exchanges and few dexes will swap it. Exactly, a.k.a. stepping on toes. Yeah. I mean, if you're, and this is the thing though, if you're already a very rich, wealthy person, then you might have access to avenues of getting and moving money, right? But if you're not, then that becomes a problem. So number 2, used for illicit activities. Yes, statistically, they're used by criminals, darknet markets, and ransomware groups. That's a fact. But privacy coins are also used used legally by millions of normal users. Exactly. How do you let, one person ruin it for everybody? It's kind of like the age-old argument of, criminals have weapons. And because they have weapons, we should take everybody's weapons. Well, criminals don't really care about rules. That's kind of what makes them a criminal. I feel like everybody here knows this argument. And so taking it away from the criminals, it's like that. It's never going to happen. You just stop normal people from being able to use stuff. And that can apply to weapons. It can apply to anything, right? Law enforcement pressure. This is regulation, right? Agencies like the U.S. Treasury and EU regulators want traceability, right? They're in control. They don't want you to be able to do nothing, right? We saw what happened with Tornado Cash. Sanctions, devs arrested, tools to that enhanced privacy are now officially under fire. Not 100% anonymous, right? Privacy isn't magic. Mistakes in wallet use, IP leaks, timing analysis, or blockchain analysis can still reveal identities. Privacy takes skill. And I mean, you could be doing things for years and years and years on privacy chain. Maybe you're doing things you're not supposed to. And then quantum computer takes a huge leap forward, and all of a sudden they can figure out everything you were doing. I didn't see that one coming. So I think another thing not to play around with anything is, even if you're just trying to avoid taxes, I certainly don't condone it, and that's not financial advice. I don't condone it for myself, because you don't know what technology they're going to have later. You don't know what kind of massive leak a privacy coin could have in data. I don't know. All things that are worth thinking about. In my personal opinion, it usually pays large dividends to just do everything the right way and not look for shortcuts, because short, fast money usually comes with a lot of stress. So it's harder to buy, sell, and spend privacy coins because the government makes companies afraid to support them. Exactly. And somebody basically was already saying that. It's hard to swap, right? So a Garden Warrior says you need a good accountant. Yeah, right. A very good accountant. Good take, and a lawyer. Yeah, exactly. You can gift up to $9 million per person every year, aka my son or relative, who then gifts it back to me January 1st. Just a scenario. Neil, I don't know if you live in the United States, so I'd wonder if that is true, because I actually have a really interesting story about that. I have, so what's the best way to say it? My mother, here's a better way to say it. My mother worked for people for a long time. She was like, like a CNA, I guess. And she took really good care of this lady for a really long time, like 10 years, right? And her family's well off, right? She's got like several sons, and they made a lot of money, right? And so they wanted to give my mom some money when their mother died, who she was taking care of, for all the years, that she took, genuinely good care of their mother, as like a nice favor. But because they were financially educated people and wealthy, they were doing the same thing, right? Where you give it to them as a gift. And my point is, as far as I understand, at least in Florida, America, I don't know if this is a Florida thing or an America thing, I don't know, you can only give up to $30,000 as a gift. Or maybe it was 10. I don't know. My point is that there's limits on it, and I don't think it's that high. Like, I don't think it's 8 to 9 million. Maybe you know better than me, Nilo. He says Cali, USA. Okay, I don't know if that's like a state-by-state thing. Could be. Or if that's a federal thing, I don't know. Crypto IQ is increasing tonight. Hey, that's what's up, man. I appreciate you hanging out with us. Hopefully you've already joined the Discord. Hey, yo, West Coast, baby. Yeah, exactly. All right, so this says real world headlines. I do want to bounce off of this for a second. It says good for on-stream discussion. I'm not taking no pointers from ChatGPT on what I should talk about. So, oh yeah, I clicked on Belladex. Let's back up here. He says, sorry, that was 19 per person, IRS, right? Hey, they will get you if you mess around, right? So this is put in a list by market cap, right? And think about this. As much as like Monero is and Zcash and all these are considered privacy coins, and there's so much, I mean, still number 35 by market cap with, $5.9 billion in market cap. Zcash following, pumped a lot, but up to $4 billion. That's where it's sitting at right now. Then you have Belladex, which I've looked at a couple of times. I didn't realize they were privacy. Railgun, did a reel about Railgun. It did pretty well. Didn't realize that they were a privacy coin, but that makes a lot of sense. Decred is another one. And then Xano, Verge, Pirate Chain, which is way down the list at only 79, call it $80 million in market cap. Tornado Cash even still on the radar. I'm surprised that it's not delisted. 51.8. And if you click on it, that's crazy. I don't even know. I don't even want to know. But what I wanted to see is when you go to the website, do they have a website for Tornado Cash? And they do. That's super sketchy. I mean, I assume you're allowed to go to their website, but like, are they facilitating? If I go to Tornado Cash because I'm an ignorant pleb and I don't know that it's not allowed, and I go to there from CoinGecko, which I have no idea where CoinGecko is based out of, and I go to their website and use it, is CoinGecko somehow facilitated me to be able to do that, right? Cryptardo in the house. Did I miss something? In the Discord coming through. Okay. Maybe I need to bring up the Discord or look at it. I won't actually bring it up here. Missed the stream, didn't get a chance to chime in. But anyone who likes privacy chains, I highly recommend Xano. Okay. Layer 1 hybrid. Proof of stake, proof of work consensus, and these guys been around since 2019, plus Freedom Dollar, lots of stuff being built with Xano, and partnerships with Zebek. I'm super bullish. I got a huge bag. All right, so it looks like Cryptardo is coming over to the stream. I'm just reading what you put in the Discord. He's probably already over here now. And yeah, so here we go. Here's this one, Firo, which I was not familiar with. So 25.9 thousand in market cap. Not very big. I'm surprised that they singled these people out. I think they singled them out because of the tech that they're using, or the way that they were going about it, right? And he was talking about Xano. As you can see, Xano has 194.1 million in its market cap. I do like that it says that Cryptardo says that it had a gotta lose these glasses. They're very annoying. That it had connections with Zebek. That's interesting. Zebek doesn't sound like an American project, does it? Verge, I've heard of that. And what else do we got? Hopper, 41 cents. Houdini Swap, if anybody remembers, if you're a true lifer, you remember when Houdini Swap was doing some kind of sponsorship on the Crypto Lifer channel. I don't know what happened to that, but it seemed to, I don't know, maybe they missed a payment or something. They ended up, I don't know what happened actually. I heard him mention it. I think that they were just not willing to pay enough money or something. I don't know. Sponsorships do have to pay money. BeamX, or just Beam actually, it's not BeamX. Grin, Monero. There's a lot of these on the small. Like when you get down to the nitty gritty, like let's go way down to the bottom. What do we have here? I mean, you have all kinds. Stealth AI. I have a lot of tiny ones. I'm not going to read every single one, right? We're going through them. You can kind of read them yourself here. Hush, Ghost. It makes sense that names like Hush and Ghost would be privacy coins. Epic Cash. And these are tiny, guys. These are really, really tiny. But if people are doing things they're not supposed to, Freedom Dollar. There you go. I'm sure it's supposed to be a stable coin. You would think, hold on, wait. Freedom Dollar only has $5.4 million in a market cap. Seems like a very low liquidity for a stable coin. Let's see. Coming through and how. Okay, yeah, I read that. Underground, I like your shirt. It says my girlfriend gifted one similar. Oh, that's cool. And I appreciate you saying that. Just trying to be a little stylish tonight. I need shirts bad for my stream. Honestly, I don't have enough shirts. Which is funny because I run a resale business for clothing. You would think I'd have a lot of shirts, but you got to be really picky about what shows up. First of all, you can't use anything that has any green in it or anything, or even orange for that matter. And then on top of that, if it has like really like close together lines or like pattern that's really intricate, it'll just really mess with the camera. It looks kind of crazy on camera. All right, so where do we go from here, right? We could go back here and talk about, the U.S. Treasury sanctioned Tornado Cash. For some reason, my sinus being messed up is really messing with my reading. For helping launder billions of stolen funds. Monero removed from several major exchanges due to AML pressure. Zcash adoption slowed because most users still send transparent transactions, hurting privacy. Crypto privacy wallets targeted by the DOJ. Samurai wallet devs were arrested for unlicensed money transmission. Nice. Not really. EU proposal in 2025 aims to restrict anonymous crypto transactions entirely, because all they have to do is just pass something that says it's illegal and you're done. Privacy is a war now, code versus control. So the future of privacy coins, expect more regulation, delistings, and more pressure. I absolutely see that coming. I don't see it getting better. Even with like America being more bullish on crypto, I don't see them just allowing anything to happen, right? When it comes to privacy. Expect better privacy tech, right? So the regulators will get harder on them and the tech will get better on the privacy side. Expect privacy to move into layer 2s and private smart contracts, not just payments, right? Privacy coins may never go mainstream, but they will never die. They serve a purpose. It's a good, and this is ChatGPT's final take here. Privacy coins are controversial because they give power back to the user. To some, they're a tool of freedom. To others, they're a threat to law enforcement and national security. But one thing is clear, privacy will always be demanded in crypto, whether governments like it or not. It's here to stay. And I actually think that's a pretty good final take, right? And how's everybody feeling? Did I hurt everybody's head with all of this crypto raising privacy coin stuff? It's funny because I do always see the numbers drop, right? When we really started getting into that, we went from like 22 people, 24 people in the show to like now we're at 11. Could be the time as well. Maybe somebody else goes live. I don't know. So we'll kind of go back to where we started, right? We were talking about what's trending, or these are top gainers, top losers actually in this call sheet. So this call sheet wound up, and I'll show the website again. It was gambling. What was their market cap, right? Are they not out yet? So total raise so far is confusing. It says 565 million, but then it says /5B. So is it 5 billion or is it 500? And is the 5B like a total valuation? Yes, it is, which is always really confusing. I almost need to do a deep dive on that and do a whole stream on like total valuation. Because like you'll have a project like this that has, 656 million, and then it'll turn around and say like a total valuation of like 5 billion, which is a huge gap in between what they actually have. Now for businesses and stuff, I understand it just fine. Because like they might own buildings and trucks and all kinds of stuff, and that is kind of factored into their full value realistically, not just like the cash they have on hand as a business. But if they were going to sell the business to somebody, obviously whoever was buying that business would also be buying the buildings and the trucks and everything, and that value would need to be transferred. But I don't know, if that's what they're talking about there. So that's very interesting. Says still here. I appreciate everybody who's still here for sure. And Trade Intuition said he was going to be here until it was over. So hopefully we don't stream super long, because that might be a while, brother. We do have some long streams, right? Let's see. So here was another one I really wanted to look at. At the bottom was called White Bridge. I meant to drink all this coffee before now. Now it just seems like a little late to drink all this coffee, but whatever. Who needs sleep, right? I've been really wanting to crank out some videos too, but because my voice and sinus have been so messed up, I didn't want to make any videos where I sound ridiculous, right? Obviously today, right now, it's better than it's been. I can kind of feel my voice like it's going to wear out. I hope this is not like a daily thing. White Bridge, WBAI. Platform Cake Pad, right? Cake Launch Pad, 160K. Doesn't seem like a lot of money. Is there still music playing? I guess I could just turn up the volume, right? White Bridge, WBAI. Oh wow, so the music stopped? It did. Blues Guy, since you're always so awesome and you're always here, can you let me know when the music stops, or try to pay attention? Obviously, you're just an awesome person in the community, so like if you forget or mess up and don't tell me, it's no big deal at all. But if you do notice that and that goes for anybody really, but if you notice the music stops, please let me know. I feel like the show is better with music. Anyways, let's check out White Bridge. All right, looks like they have a website and like an app. Oh, I like the background. AI agents for people, data intelligence, deepen. Thank you, Blues Guy. I knew I could count on you. I hate to put more burden on your shoulder, but I know I can count on you. Deepen. What does deepen stand for? If I made one of those little like raise your crypto or what is your crypto IQ kind of things, that would definitely be in there. Like, what is the word? What does deepen mean? It says, I will, brother. I want to make coffee. Step away for a sec. Music feeds your soul. Hey, you're good, man. No worries. No worries. Appreciate you letting me know, though. And I've been over here chugging this coffee and stuff. What are the odds that I could run and use the bathroom real quick and everybody will still be here? I'm trying to think of something I could throw on right while I'm doing that for you guys to look at. Don't really know of anything, right? Just throw this on. It'll only take like 1 minute, so I guess if you can't wait 1 minute, then it is what it is. But we're not done streaming yet. We're only 2.5 hours in, so we are gonna keep on. We have definitely a couple of things that we haven't done that we normally do. All right, guys, I'll be right back. All right, and I'm back. Sorry, but big shout out to anybody who actually stayed. I feel so grown up drinking coffee. Does that make me weird? No, not at all. Or is it the way I live stream that makes me weird? LOL, love coffee. I'm not sure what he's getting at, but I don't know. I don't know if you're weird, but I don't think you are. So a flat white or American. Assume he's talking about coffee. Hey, the music is on, but you disappeared. Yeah, I had to run and take a leak real quick. I tried to really not do that, but at some point it becomes kind of unbearable, right? And when I'm drinking liquids for my voice, and then we're going for hours, you know, at some point it's kind of inevitable. What do people do who live stream for like 12 hours? I think you all know who I'm talking about. Bro, I used to say I drink a beer and P3. Now it's more like I drink a coffee and P3. Yeah, exactly. All right, I just threw this on so there was at least something interesting to look at, right? It's not Friday. So we have this Whitebridge. What is it? Whitebridge builds AI agent decentralized systems for access trustworthy, actionable information. I assume they just didn't finish. Oh, more details. Oh, okay. So Whitebridge is an AI agent network. Allows how people... Am I reading this wrong? An AI agent network allows how people's data is accessed. That makes more sense. Verified and analyzed by bridging a global network of people, data providers, nodes, depend with the state-of-the-art AI agent to create global trust layer for people data intelligence. At its core, Whitebridge AI agent transform fragmented online data into actionable insight that empowers users to make smart decisions and build trustworthy connections in a digital economy. Let's go to their website. Do they have a website? That was a lot of words, right? Everybody really understood that, right? So all I see is a couple IDOs. One that they don't want to show us, and one for 160K, which is not a lot of money. And the total amount of money that they raised looks like 410K, so you could just minus 160, and that's what this other one would be. I don't know why they do this nonsense. Crypto rank. I think, does anybody else think this whole crypto rank, like paid upgrade user thing, is kind of silly? Maybe not. I mean, maybe they provide a lot of value that you don't get on CoinGecko or CoinMarketCap. Maybe. Oh, they do have a website. Okay. Oh, we did go to their... That's right. We had already did that. I apologize. So, Trade Intuition says, at Underground Crypto, what do you do for work? It's funny. I do a lot of things, honestly. I used to run a handyman and a moving company. Don't really do that anymore, but I mean, my handyman company is still open. I closed the moving company down just because I don't feel like doing that. It's a lot of work. I was good at it for sure, but there's a lot of big companies that pour tons of money in advertising, and they crush the little guy, right? And I would have been one of the little guys in that arena. But my handyman company did really well. You know, I got best in service for multiple years on different platforms in my area, and I live in a pretty populated area, I guess. I don't know. If you live in New York City, you might not think so. But anyways, long story short, that's what I did for a long time. My wife ran, you know, and I helped her a good bit. Now I do a lot more. A resale business, eBay resale business. So I've definitely got that entrepreneur kick, right? And I have even other smaller businesses and stuff that I've done for times. So, yeah. What do I do now for a living? Pretty much my resale business, what pays the bills. So AI agents for people, data, intelligence, and depend. But it is hard, though, you know, because now I'm focusing on crypto, and I plan on it being a good revenue source, even though, to be honest, that's not really why I'm doing it. But it has to turn some dollar, otherwise I can't do it all the time. Very cool. Thank you very much, Trade Intuition. Appreciate you saying that. So incubated by ChatGPT Labs. All right, well, they have my attention at that, right? And accelerated by BNB Chains MV6 10, BNB Chain YZI Labs. So you're telling me this has... Okay, I totally read that wrong. It's not ChatGPT, it's Chein GPT, CHEIN, which I have no idea what that means or what it is. Underground is the real hustler. Well, I appreciate you saying that. Yeah, I kind of born and grow that way, if you know what I mean. I come from rough area, so you didn't really have much choice but to find the opportunity, right, and make it happen. So leading a historic lineup, the first project joining Trust Wallet Accelerator, Trust Moon, and PancakeSwap's new CakePad. So is CakePad new? Because I hadn't really heard of it. I mean, it makes a lot of sense that there would be a launch pad with Cake. I mean, that makes a lot of sense, right? How to take part. These are probably a good place to look, right? So right here we have a total sale of this white bridge, a one-day event. Is this how we get in on pre-sale? Oh, it's live now. So you could buy this now, I guess, as a pre-sale. It says total sale. Subscribe to the sale by depositing Cake. So, I mean, obviously, you probably use Cake to buy it. So, commit. Anyone with Cake can take part. No KYC required. When the CakePad event is live, simply commit your Cake tokens. You can commit as much Cake as you like. Your final token allocation will depend on how much you commit compared to the total pool. And then after that, you claim your tokens. After CakePad event ends, you can claim the CakePad tokens you purchased. Okay, so they're not going to give you your Cake back, I take it. If the CakePad event is oversubscribed, total commitment amount, raise goal, unspent Cake will be refunded. A participation fee, gotta hit them with the participation fee, right? Of 0.05 to 1% applied when CakePad event is oversubscribed. The fee decreases as the oversubscription percent rises and is deducted from your refund to Cake. I don't love that you don't exactly know how much money they're going to take from you, but unless you're using hundreds of thousands of dollars, it's probably not a big deal, as it is like 0.5 to 1%. I would like some reassurance that it's not going to go over 1%, right? It said that it decreases and also rises as deducted from your free fund. Okay, so it reminds me of anybody here use Weeks? So Weeks has this thing. I think other platforms have this, but I mostly see it on Weeks, right? So you hold the main token. I think it's WXT, I think is Weeks token. That would make sense. The Weeks WXT token. And then so they'll have different, I don't know, it almost feels like a giveaway, but they have different tokens that'll do like partnerships, kind of like launches and stuff. Sometimes they're projects that have already been out. Anyways, you commit your Weeks tokens, and then depending on how much Weeks tokens you commit, they give you a percentage of the pool. So say it's like a project and they're giving away 20 million tokens. Well, that 20 million tokens will be divided up by how many people commit their Weeks tokens, the exchange's tokens, and then also by how much money that is that you've committed, and then you get a little bit. I don't have a lot of Weeks tokens, so I usually get like, I don't know, somewhere between like 80 cents and $1 worth of money, but I could do 3, 4, 5 of those a week. So it's a tiny bit of something, and obviously if I had more money in Weeks token, so I was hoping that's more what it was. Where like it really just seems more like a pre-sale, right? Where you commit some Cake, aka you're buying some of this token, and then when it's all said and done, they settle it and they take the Cake and you get the token. Seems pretty cool though. I definitely want to take a look at it. Lista DAO, which had a lot of hype. But the thing is, if you get in early like this, you got to be quick to the punch, right? Because what do we see most projects do when they first come out? They dump. Everybody wants to be in the pre-sale, right? But you better be on it. You better start dumping. And there's another question, right? Here's another good question. I think this is a good crypto IQ question. Yeah, El Cheeto, if you buy some Weeks tokens, you can go to the notification section and you could probably find some of the places to commit that, right? And what was I going to say? Oh, here's a thought, right? Is the dump that happens when a project first comes out, is it all just big VCs, as we've always been told it is? Or is it people afraid that it's going to dump, so they dump it? Whether they're a VC or a small fry, right? And everybody just dumps it all together, right? Just because everybody's scared that everybody else is going to dump it on them. This is really interesting. These are all the projects that they've done so far, right? So this is something I think is worth keeping an eye on if you have any cake, that is. And then cake is probably going to go up in value at the same time. Anyways, we went on a detour there. We were talking about this white bridge, but yeah. Binance Alpha. Of course, it's on MEXC and KuCoin. Join a $100,000 Trust Wallet giveaway. Collect points and share a $20,000 in reward. Doesn't sound like they'll be giving out much if that's $20,000 being split between a bunch of people. Face Finder Agent. Contact Finder. Enrichment Agent. KOL. Social Analyzer Agent. So it has a lot to do with AI agents, obviously. And who do we see in the Chain GPT, right? Which I guess is like the Chat GPT of blockchain. Whitebridge AI Guardian Agent to protect and monitor your online reputation. So we're really going some places here that I think the average person doesn't want to go. Digital IDs and digital reputations, right? Imagine now you got to pay money to an AI bot to like fix your reputation. That sounds fun, right? Says I use Weeks. Yes. WXT Zone. They have the quick commit in the airdrops. Yeah, exactly. So you understand what I'm saying. And you can make a little bit depending on how much money you have. I don't have a ton of money in the Weeks token. I don't even know why I ever bought it. But then all of a sudden I realized that I could commit. So then I kept it. All right. And these were top gainers, top losers, right? Nope, it was not. We were looking at that over here. We can go to highlights. And there were some other interesting highlights, right? So you have new coins. Boy, we could spend probably another 2 hours in new coins. Then you have token unlocks. That's probably worth looking at. So Psy has a token unlock coming. Be cool if they just went straight to the token unlock part of it, right? And as much as I use CoinGecko, there's always so much information on these things, right? So, okay, I just wanted the information about the token unlock. Is that under news? No, it's not. And yeah, we went over this coin, Yi Finance. Somebody tell Orhan about this coin. If I don't get to see him. So here it is. What is the supply schedule for Psy, right? So today, so they have it like, it looks like on a gradual release, right? So what do they have for today? I've never really looked at their token unlock stuff for CoinGecko, so that's very interesting. Ecosystem reserves, Binance launch pool, foundation, private seller investment team. And it looks like it just kind of gradually goes up until you hit June 30th, 2027. But they really acted like there was like a more specific drop of tokens, right? I don't know. Something I'll have to deep dive by myself a little bit more. Let's hop back and see if it gave better information. It just says next unlock date 9 hours, but the way that it looked like they unlocked some tokens like every day. But anyway, you see Arbitrum and a bunch of other hooked protocol, whatever that is, GameSwift. So just so you know, CoinGecko does have a token unlock, department here. And then you have new coins, which we will come back to in a minute. I just kind of want to look at all the different things that I don't really look at all the time. Highest volume, price change since the all-time high. It's a pretty cool metric, actually. And most voted coin. I don't know what that means, like governance. Let's go to new coins. Fire token is the newest of new. I don't know what order they put these in. Oh, 9 hours ago. So they are in order by how new they are. What is Fire token, right? Yeah. So according to GoPlus, which I'm not sure what GoPlus is, they can make changes to contracts such as disabling sells, changing fees, minting, transfer tokens, exercise caution. I do see these type of labels a lot on stuff. I mean, it is what it is, right? It is exactly what it says it is, as far as I know. So there's only 20 million max supply. I more want to know what it is and why anybody should care about it. What's the narrative? Category. Narrative. I haven't said that in a while, right? It's funny how the evolution of this show has gone on. But I still definitely do believe, right? In knowing your niche, knowing your categories, and knowing your narrative. Eliminate is fire, right? So here to reimagine Bitcoin mining. There's an interesting concept, right? So how many people are really focused on reimagining Bitcoin mining? And Bitcoin has its own set rules and stuff, right? So how much can you really, quote unquote, redefine it? Integrating Bitcoin mining and offering unique rewards. Fire token is a cryptocurrency designed to integrate with Bitcoin mining, offering unique rewards to its users. By staking Fire token and holding the Fire NFTs, participants become eligible to earn Bitcoin mining rewards. The system allocates 50% of the reward to Fire token holders and the remaining 50% to Fire NFT holders, creating a balanced ecosystem that benefits both token and NFT holders. Okay. But what does that mean? Like, I get what they're saying about the token and the allocations and the NFT. Like, I get that. 50-50 split, right? Designed to integrate with Bitcoin mining. I mean, as far as I understand, that's something that, I mean, for true integration, that's something that would have to be passed and voted on, right, within Bitcoin. Hopefully this is not too loud or too low. I can't hear this, by the way. Maybe I need to turn it up on here. Figured out how I can actually listen to this.
That operates on a decentralized blockchain powered by globally distributed nodes. Whenever a transaction is made, specialized nodes validating encrypting multiple transactions together into a block, which is then cryptographically linked to the block before it, hence the term blockchain.
Forgot the music was playing. I tried to turn it up, and really I just turned up everything else. Holy smokes, this is a long video. All right, drop a 333 in the comments if you actually want me to play this video. Trade Tuition says, this show is crazy long, very tired. Gonna have to catch you in the next one. Good night, everyone. Like button smash. Thanks, Trade Intuition. I had a feeling you might have to tap out before we actually finished because yes, this show is long. But when you're in education, you know, an hour just ain't gonna cut it. He put 0. I'm not sure what that's supposed to mean. Items and maximum of 3 advantages for an upcoming re-entry duel for a better chance to get back in the game. It's almost 11 p.m. here. I hear you, Trade Intuition. Yeah, it's 10:45 where I'm at. Woke up very early. I appreciate you either way. It's okay if you can't stay. Blues Guy says this show is awesome. Thank you very much. Does anybody else feel like this show is too long? I know it might feel like that for people who maybe are rewatching the show another time. The funny part is sometimes people will say, oh, I rewatched the live show from yesterday, but then I go to my analytics and I can tell that nobody has watched the entirety of it, at least. So like, if it's a 3-hour show and the amount of watch time hours after it was live is less than 3 hours, or even less than an hour, because a lot of times it's less than like an hour, I know that they did not watch it. So it's funny. I don't know why you would say you watched it when you didn't watch it. But anyways, I don't really care. I don't get that detailed into it, right? The Fire ecosystem, staking DApp. You know, in this YouTube world, you get what you get. You can't be all upset if you don't get what you want. Staking DApp. So this seems really interesting. Obviously, this is a tiny coin. Brand new. It is 9 hours old. Don't exactly know how I'm supposed to interact with it. What is even the price of this token? They have no market cap, but the price is like 2 cents. Yeah, Blues Guy got that energy, right? And El Cheeto says 333. So let's go back and actually watch that video, since somebody did drop that they wanted to watch it. It's only 4 minutes long, so I mean, we don't have to act like it's 40 minutes long. Oh wait, I already had the website up. All right, and then let me do the right thing here and pause the music. I'm gonna have to turn it up on my phone here. It's only 4 minutes long, so I mean, we don't have to act like it's 40 minutes long. All right, let's go watch it.
When you first heard about Bitcoin mining, you might have had an image like this in your head. However, reality is far different. Put your hard hat on as we dig around and find out what Bitcoin mining actually is and how it's key to Bitcoin's function and security.
Sorry for the
First,
pause.
a quick recap on how Bitcoin works and where mining comes into the picture. Bitcoin is a cryptocurrency that operates on a decentralized blockchain powered by globally distributed nodes. Whenever a transaction is made, specialized nodes called miners are responsible for validating and grouping multiple transactions together into a block, which is then cryptographically linked to the block before it, hence the term blockchain. The miner which successfully adds the block is then rewarded some Bitcoin for their work. Therefore, mining is the process by which new blocks are added onto the blockchain, and also how new Bitcoin enter into circulation via the block reward awarded to miners. But how does mining actually work? Well, you may have heard that mining is about solving complex mathematical puzzles, but it's more accurate to call it a lottery, as miners are actually guessing the right number to win the block reward. To understand this analogy, here's the mining process in more detail. Each block contains a block header, which contains data such as a timestamp, a reference to the previous block, and a number called a nonce. Miners would guess a nonce, which could be any number really, then put that along with all the data in the block header through a cryptographic hash function to create a hash. In cryptography,
can we get to the
a hash
fire part?
is simply a string of characters of a fixed length
I know, I'm impatient.
created by putting data through a mathematical function, and it's easy for a computer to do. The real work in mining thus comes from the sheer number of guessing and hashing needed to reach a valid output. For reference, the current Bitcoin network hash rate is over 500 exahashes per second, which is an astronomical figure. So why is it so difficult to guess the correct nonce? Well, the thing is that roughly every 2 weeks, the Bitcoin network sets a target hash and will only accept output hashes that are equal to or smaller in value than the target hash. That may sound counterintuitive, but imagine having to roll a 1,000-sided dice. It would be more difficult to have to roll a number smaller than 10 than, say, 250. The target hash thus determines the Bitcoin network's difficulty. The higher the difficulty, the more guesses needed on average for a miner to find the correct nonce. And the first miner to output a valid hash successfully mines the block and wins the reward, and the guessing game starts all over again. This difficulty imposed on miners would also adjust up or down automatically.
This is not what I thought this was going to be.
Total network hash rate and miner participation. For example, if more miners join and network hash rate increases, the average time needed to find the valid hash would reduce, as there would be more computational power put into the guessing game. The difficulty would then be adjusted upwards. The reason the Bitcoin network does this is to ensure that new blocks and new Bitcoin are created roughly every 10 minutes on average, in accordance with its programmed issuance schedule. So, mining is essentially a guessing game. But why this seemingly random task?
Great video if you
this
just wanted to know how
aka
Bitcoin
proof of
mining
work,
works.
Ensures that miners have verifiably expended some effort and cost in order to mine a block. In this case, computational power and electricity. Therefore, aside from adding blocks and issuing new Bitcoin, proof of work helps ensure the security of the network. As more participants join and the value of the Bitcoin network increases, it becomes increasingly more difficult and expensive to attempt fraudulent transactions or to tamper with the blockchain. In case you're wondering if all this energy consumption is bad for the environment, check out this video.
All right. There's a little delay, so I'm watching it on my phone because I actually wanted to hear what it had to say. Then I got to turn the volume back down so I don't blow our eardrums out when I put the music back on. All right. That didn't tell me anything about fire at all. I learned more about what Blues Guy put. He says he thinks he's impatient, bro. You don't know me. I'm working on it. I'm usually super patient, honestly. If I can say that about myself, I'm actually really good with patience. So I feel you though. I feel you. But not when I'm doing a live stream and it's not telling me what I need to know. So I really came all the way back to that because I really wanted to see what Fire did with BTC. And it looks like all they did was steal a video about how Bitcoin mining works. Stealing might be a little bit harsh, but let's go to their Twitter. So 3,522. I'm going to go ahead and follow them and see if they put anything out. Here are the updates. Fire Social. I'm sure they have Discord. They're going to be listed soon on CoinMarketCap. And we don't even know what the market cap is. But I do love the 20 million max supply. Makes me almost want to buy some, but I have absolutely no idea what it does. Like I have a general idea. It has to do with Bitcoin mining. But I don't know how they just integrate themselves with Bitcoin mining, right? You can't just do that. All right, and it is that part of the show where we are going to go to stake.com and play our free dollar. This is crypto because stake.com is a crypto gambling website. So by long association there, this is somehow relevant to crypto. I just think it's a fun thing to do, to be honest with you. And it's like 5 spins, so it's not like when we played slots for like 2 hours, which by the way was pretty wild because I only bought $5 worth of token and we ended up being able to play for like 2 hours. We did really good. We got up to like $30 and then it was just 2 hours into it, so I just went ahead and crashed out, right? We put it all in. We put it all on red, and as much as that sounds fun, it didn't work out. We lost all of our $30. Let's go. Who knows? Like I said, on this game one time, on literally free dollar, I won $375 on an epic roll, right? So unfortunately, if anybody doesn't know how this works, right? There's coins that it'll drop. Up here you see how it says 8 out of 10. So on the 10th roll, right? The last roll in the sequence of 10, all the coins that you got throughout those 10 rolls will have a number up top. That's how many wilds you're going to get. It would be nice if we actually were starting. If we were starting on number 1, we'd get a full 10. So we won 6 cents there, which is nothing. We are playing 20-cent spins, guys. We need to win like 40 cents throughout our spins, right? And with all of the wilds being at the end, it's very unlikely that we're going to get connection through the first 3, right? So then you hit spin and it starts over. And we got nothing. We need to win like 40 cents or so to get like another round of spin. So here we got a coin, and then you see it put a number above. We're going to pretty much play this every day for our free dollar. So, and we got cooked, right? We got one more spin, and if we don't win anything, we're done. We got another wild, right? It says, I subscribe, but I don't see the free dollar. It's been 7 days and not a help. Yeah, so Blues Guy, do you see this up here where it says wallet? And then you go and you click wallet. Then it should say daily bonus. And in that daily bonus tab, you click claim daily bonus, which I obviously did right before I got on stream, so I don't actually have a bonus to claim right now, but that's how you would do it. Now, this is stake.us. I have no idea how the platform operates outside of the US, as they have a separate website for if you're not in the US. And I know you're not in the US. Let me know if that helped you, Blues Guy. Other than that, though, I really don't know what else there is. And we are rolling into the 3rd hour. And so probably going to cap it there, as I can feel my voice getting a little irritated. And I don't want to push it so hard that we can't do a stream tomorrow, right? That would be lame. We will definitely be doing a stream tomorrow, one way or the other. Taking one day off was enough for me. I hated that. I felt like I had quit or something. It's terrible. Lots of new coins that we could go after. There's so much more to go after on a daily basis. There's so much to learn in crypto. So this show could go on forever. Okay, he says Canada probably robbing all the freedom, or robbing it from all of us. I think that's what he meant. I thought you were going to say freedom. Yeah, maybe. Also, Blues Guy, did it say wallet? Like, do you have the thing that says wallet, right? Did you go through the steps, or are the steps like literally not even there? Because look, right at the top, you scroll all the way up, like right, scroll down, but then you scroll up, it says wallet. You click wallet. When the wallet thing loads, you click daily bonus. And that's where you should have your claim. If that's not there, I have absolutely no idea. Maybe ask ChatGPT at that point. Popping back over to Crypto Bubbles. Everything looking pretty green in the hour, but the day still looking pretty wrecked. It was like attempting to flag out the 15-minute for BTC. It got rejected again by the 200 on the 15. So no love. Definitely look like a cup and handle though, right? I'm saying this like you guys are looking at the chart with me, and you're not. So we move on from that. So yeah, we're going to go ahead and wrap up the show. I appreciate everybody being here. If anybody has any questions, now would be the time to ask it. I don't know why. Saying that made me feel like I was like some kind of professor or something. I am not a crypto professor, at least not yet. But if anybody had any questions, feel free to let me know what your questions are. Maybe I can answer them before I hop off. Honestly, if you really had questions, you just at me in the Discord, right? I feel like anybody who's here is at the Discord, right? Already. He says looking at the charts with you. Yeah. Well, here, let me port you over for a second. This is not a TA channel, but I will port you over for just a second, right? So, yeah, this is what I was looking at. I don't really want to get into anything when we're under that 200 for the 15. What's the 1 minute doing? So the 1 minute looks like it's losing the 200. 5 minute still above the 200. So there's hope. And the 15 minute not above it yet. Does look very cup and handle-ish or Adam and Eve-ish. I don't know. I see the Adam, but not really the Eve. And there was some news with XRT, but it wasn't big news or anything. They redid their staking on their website. And then, of course, you have Anoma, which also looks like it's in a big cup and handle. Kind of have this bottom line here. Again, I am no TA master of any kind. So I just draw things. I don't even know if they're right, to be honest. So do not look at my TA and think I should do that, because you shouldn't. You shouldn't do that. Now let's go look at the Discord. So in the Discord, we got the main hangout. We got the community charts, which I literally just threw because we have people who are lifers and they wanted to be able to talk to each other about it. And we don't want all of this stuff in the main hangout, right? Kind of want a separate hangout. Orhan, which I don't know where he was tonight, but shout out to Orhan. He is definitely a big person in our community. I don't know what his thumbnail is. Is that Orhan? This white guy with the bow tie on? Somehow I don't think that's Orhan, but I could be wrong. Been wrong before. It'll happen again. Then we have different stuff. You know, we have the exclusive underground hangout, which you do have to be approved to be in. Not a lot of people chatting in there. This is really for much later on when we are bigger. DAG Deep Dive, which I really need to get back on because I started to do it and then I thought I was going to make it into a video and then I got distracted, right? But we do have the GameFi, which we update a lot of times on Friday, and then we have Health is Wealth, where we also post a lot of stuff. It's a brand new Discord, so we don't have a lot of stuff going on. Or we have a lot building up, but it doesn't have like a ton of archive, right? You can't just scroll back forever. All right. Well, that's pretty much the show, everybody. Get us back to where we were for our sign off here. Gala Games, right? The Health and Wealth, I can't see anything on. Okay. We will. Here, I'll do that real quick because you did say that before and I should fix that. Let's go to Edit Channel, Permissions. Permissions is not synced with category, so sync it? Would you like to synced with text channels? Well, yeah. Okay, try to go do it now. General permissions, view channel. Well, yeah, that should be on, right? Save changes. Manage channel. Permissions. They give so many settings, right? Management. Can you see it now, Blues Guy? You want to let me know before I hop off? All right, I just saved it and updated it. So you should be able to see it now. Try again. I just like updated it again. It literally has a thing that says like allow you to see, you know? All right, yeah, we'll chat in the Discord. I thought maybe we could resolve it quickly, but I guess not. All right, guys. Everybody have a good night. Thanks for being here. Stay underground, stay crypto, and I will catch you tomorrow night at 8 p.m.